Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Do we have sound? Yes, apparently we have sound, at least on my end. There is sound. Congratulations, Lady Mistleaf, on winning this pop quiz with 10 out of 14 questions answered correctly. And Venereal Disease, congrats on winning silver, and Kersey Boo with a wonderful bronze. And I'm so glad that all of you partook in this pop quiz. Finally, we have the high score filled up with places from 1 to 5. As you know, this is done with CSS, and if not all the places are filled, you never know what's gonna happen. Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. And Tutvari says 100%, and Kersey has a watch streak of 30 streams. This is amazing, Kersey. Thank you so much for being this. I don't think that I'm this often on my own stream, so that's really quite something. Thank you, Kersey, for being such a stalwart member of the Unicorn Club. Yes, also thank you for dropping in this early and on this ungodly hour today. Yes, in Austria we had daylight savings adjustment this night, so it was just horrible because I'm missing 1 hour of my life and it feels like it was stolen from me, so I'm very anti daylight savings. Yeah, personally for me, if we wouldn't change from how it is now, from summertime all year round, this would be fine with me. But yeah, probably not gonna change. And yeah, that's quite something that I think I'm getting old now, because this is really something that rubs me the wrong way every year, that daylight savings just stolen out from me. What I also would suggest is that in fall, instead of going back 1 hour again, we do this also in spring. So every day your day gets 1 hour longer. Of course, which means more spare time for you. I think this is something that we can get behind. And yeah, Lady Misleaf says you'll get it back in the fall. That's the thing. Am I still around in the fall? I don't know. I want my hour back, but with interest, because what are they doing with this hour? Why won't they let me keep it? Who are they anyway? So yeah, I don't trust anyone nowadays with 1 hour of my life that they say, yeah, I'll give it to you back in fall. What are you doing with it in the meantime? I don't trust you. Kersey says, been watching for so many years now. Streams are a nice part of my regular schedule. Thank you, Kersey. I'm glad that you can make this rather... what's the word, unregular stream, because I'm also, as you know, I'm doing Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm glad that you somehow still managed to make this your routine, so that I'm very glad that, yeah, this stream fits somehow into your daily planning. Wonderful. And DC says Big Clock is behind this. Yeah, it's Big Clock. I don't know where they are going to profit from, but yeah, the Big Clock industrial complex is somehow benefiting from it. I think we have to look into this. There aren't many, or there aren't enough weird conspiracy streams around nowadays, so why not add this one? No, this is not what we're gonna do. Instead, we're gonna focus on the usual, just having fun, being creative, and having this, our little cozy place here carved out for us. As was recent a discussion, or still ongoing discussion, on the Pixel Prophecy Discord, is that, yeah, we kind of, many of us, we feel somehow detached a little bit from everything, and currently I don't think I'm the only one, just feeling weird these days, just because of everything coming together, with all the bad things happening outside of our wonderful four walls, or cave walls, or what have you. So I think this, I can feel it pretty much everywhere, that it's kind of weird nowadays. Everyone is just so wary of things. So yeah, I think the only thing that I can do is, that I can suggest is try to look after yourself. It's okay if you aren't feeling productive or creative or anything. I mean, I had a rather, I wanted to say a rather relaxing week, where I tried to cut back from all the stress of finishing the latest postmortem, and instead of relaxing, somehow I felt even more stressed out, and yeah, I felt like almost I was getting sick. So it must be something in the air, and I don't think it's germs or viruses, or not just germs or viruses. Oh god, I'm still so negative. Big Ben, says Curse. Oh yes, Big Ben. DC says, by having us manually adjust our mechanical clocks that we all surely own, they are having us marginally expedite how quick the gears wear out. I figured it out. Oh, this makes sense. I still have a clock with a working clockwork behind me. You know what? Let's try this. Let me see if I can show you the clock behind me. There we go. Yes, it's the good old pixel clock. Yes, of course, it still exists. And yeah, it is also right next to the lamp. So how can I get back in frame? Not update preset. Reset to this preset. No, that's camera. What is this? What are you trying to do? There we go. Wonderful. Pixel clock. Indeed, Kersey. Yes, we still have the good old pixel clock, hopefully featured in upcoming postmortems. Right, so what's on the agenda for today is probably you've read what's it called? The title. What's this thing called on top of everything? How you title things? Yeah, the title. I want to make a album cover. Well, it's not an album, it's just one release. But yeah, with all these, like I said, weird feeling, burnt out, but still not very creative or anything. So again, I try to just don't do much besides work where I could. And I try, even napping didn't help this time, which is weird. So like I said, I've heard once that someone say a good day has a nap and a better day has two. And even after 2 naps, I was feeling still weird. So what helped me actually was making music, interestingly. So yesterday evening, yesterday afternoon, even after I tried to just get my head out and just vent everything by just cruising and going to places that I haven't been before. Usually this helps. This last time it did not. But what helped was making music. And I'm pretty happy with the result. And I would say it's a finished track now. I shared an in-progress version on Discord yesterday. So a lot has changed. Well, not a lot, but some of it has changed, especially with the mix and the arrangement. Yeah, and I think it's finished now. I want to make a classic album cover. Lady Mistleaf says, what have I missed before? DC said, lol, I was just rewatching all the postmortems. Oh, thank you so much. I was just thinking about that clock. It's all connected. Yeah, I need some red threads to and pin things up so that I can somehow find the connections between everything. Because if you don't have a conspiracy board at home, what are you even doing? Are you taking things seriously? At least there should be one line between me, them. There's a connection. See? Maybe this is getting conspiracy stream. Kersey tried to feed the automated unicorn spaghetti, and it worked, and the automated unicorn somehow chomped on spaghetti. I don't think this is possible, but hey, automated unicorn, you do you, you're amazing. Stay how you are. And Jerem says spaghetti. By the way, this is the German pronunciation. In German, if words start with sp, you pronounce it sp. So that's just another thing of weird German things. And of course, if you have an Italian word that is spaghetti, if you bring it to German, well, it starts with sp, so it's probably spaghetti. So this is, if you want to order spaghetti in Austria or Germany, just order spaghetti. Everyone know what you're talking about. But of course, don't do this in an Italian restaurant. They probably will throw you out. What was the other thing? When someone tried, I've heard this somewhere, someone tried to be very Italian and said spaghetti. Also wrong. So, yes, thank you everyone for dropping by. Also, I still want to thank you for partaking in the premiere of the postmortem, and again, thank you also for rewatching the other postmortems. I've noticed a slight uptick in the analytics backend of YouTube Studio, which is the creator backend of YouTube. So thank you very much. I have I think over 2,000 views within 1 week, which is really something. My goal was to get 300 views within 24 hours, and I'm so glad that my very nostalgic postmortem somehow still got it. So thank you, everyone. So, right. Before I get started on the track, on making the artwork, or starting with the artwork on the track, I already have some ideas. But you know what? It would be probably not a bad idea to... Here I am, to listen to the track first so that you get an impression of what we're trying to create. Where is it? a little bit slow today. Oh, by the way, yeah, hydrate everyone. This time it was me who thought first of it, but still thank you, Cursey Boo, for also reminding me to stay hydrated. If it weren't for you, I would already be a wrinkled little potato. While this loads, Lady Mistliff says, my shoulder's been hurting today thanks to my good old friend tendonitis. Oh dear, so I've been playing Timberborn. They're semi-self-sufficient and only require the occasional guidance to grow while I do some cleaning. You know what? That actually sounds like progress. Is it progress or getting things done? I mean, Timberborn, I've heard good things about it. It's this building game where everyone is a beaver, right? And it's much more vertical building game than what you usually have. So again, I find this very cool. Thank you for sharing. And also cleaning despite hurting shoulder. That's something. Yeah, talking about shoulder and everything. I really started to realize that I should probably bend and flex more. So I have started another routine where every day I have like my 5 minutes of shoulder work, and it's really good. It's so weird that when you're in your 20s, you feel like nothing can hurt you. You don't sleep for 48 hours. Maybe if you do, it's on the concrete floor under a table. All you do is eat pizza and soda for 3 days, and after 8 hours of sleep, you feel like new again. Nowadays, it feels like even if I have my 8 hours of sleep, it feels like I've been sleeping on the concrete, ate nothing but pizza and soda, and was up to 48 hours before. It's not that bad, but I think we can relate a little bit. So everything that you do against this, let's say, corrosion of your body is a-okay. Stay hydrated, says Cursey Poo, and know you're valid. Indeed, that's exactly the thing. The humans are extinct and have left behind a mess in Timberborn. So the smartest species on Earth, the beavers, have to navigate the droughts and bad tides, oil spills. Oh, left behind by the humans. Oh, I like this. So it has this positive ecologic framing. This I like it. What was the other thing? Terra Nil is also a game where essentially you just clean up after what the humans did. And again, I feel like this is a super nice and interesting take on this kind of city builders. Lady Mistliff says, but the music when water flows is so uplifting. It never fails to make me want to dance. Oh, this is amazing. I think this is the best thing in games when just the whole package comes together, and when you're looking forward to a certain kind of music or to a certain cutscene or certain visuals. I mean, you can plan for it as a designer. I think if you do lots of play testing, if everything works together. But I just thought of the counter example to this that is, to me at least, is what was it, Animal Crossing. So people were looking forward to talking to Blathers every day because it was always saying the same things, and it's very repetitive, and whenever you find a fossil you go like, I found a fossil, and people say this is very soothing, especially during COVID. And it just got me mad. It just drove me insane because I just wanted to skip and just do my chores there and be done with it. And this is not how the game wants to be played. So this is the exact opposite. So if you have something where you feel like, I'm very much looking forward to this music or to this sound, that's very wonderful. I'm just thinking of, I think with SimCity 2000 I had this when there was... I had this, my favorite song, I think it was called Work, 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 or at least back then I didn't know that it was called, but this was my favorite song, and I was always, when I was playing it, I was looking forward to and trying to figure out what the circumstances were when this song would be played. I think it's just random, but I tried to, I just built like 3 hospitals, and now the music plays, so it's the hospital music. Next time I tried it, of course it didn't work, so yeah. All good old times. Lady Mistlif says, it's a post-apocalyptic game, but how grim it depends on the difficulty. Okay, I'm playing a game on beginner to achievement chase without stressing out, but I do have another save file where I played it on hard, and it was not easy, but I managed to survive and can now navigate the worst and thriving. I think this is a good goal. Just navigate the worst and be thriving. In the end, yeah, you just have to look out for yourself. I'm just hijacking this as a metaphor. Look out after yourself and see in which circumstances, if you can somehow manage to get them, that you are thriving despite the worst. I think with some city builders, the hardest part is starting. Once you made it over the bump, over the crest, in many games, it feels like, okay, the worst is now behind me, I think I can manage. And then there are games like Frostpunk, where it always feels like, man, if I could only get over that crest. And once you feel like, okay, I think I've made it, I have, everyone is healthy, everyone is happy, there's enough heat, we should be fine. Oh dear, something happened. And it's like, yeah, the generator exploded and half of your population is dead. And also the food storage exploded. Congratulations, you have to manage this. So with these kinds of city builders, I thought I would be into it, but no, I do not like Frostpunk, despite everything with the setting enjoying. But maybe I should look into Timberborn then. But yeah, the thing with city builders with me is this usually feels it's like one project that I get started and then which stays with me for half a year or something. And of course, it's probably my guilty pleasure. It's probably what many people have with snacking and food is like, oh, maybe I can sneak in half a bar of chocolate. For me, it's, yeah, I'm at work right now, but maybe I can sneak in like 14 minutes, 15 minutes of SimCity 2000, and then it's an hour and you're behind with everything. So this is why I have to portion this out very carefully for me. Ghoul Prince is here. Hi Phil, hi chat. Unicorn emoji, sparkles emoji. Thank you for dropping by, Ghoul Prince. Today we're making some art, at least that's the plan, as it says, designing an album cover, and I still haven't played to you at least portions of the music that I made. Like I said, I made this yesterday. I wanted to create something in the style of the old DOS and Amiga game Dreamweb, because I really like this atmospheric music there. And since I have the Korg M1 synthesizer, which I feel like was also used when they were making the soundtrack to this game, so I thought I can make something similar because I have the same instrument more or less. Yeah, it didn't turn out that way, but my god, this is taking long to load. I hope the stream is not coughing while this is happening or somehow getting sluggish. Anyway, so with music making, I have a plan and then things happen and my plan is gone. So instead of making a dark atmospheric track, let us close here this lane. So this is the timeline of the song, and let me play it to you. First I have probably to pause the background music, otherwise this is going to end in a unlistenable cacophony. So who is into trance music? Yeah, I'm not raising my hand, but apparently I am. So, oh no, what did I do? This is when you hit B on the keyboard and you go into block edit mode. So I hope you can hear this in the background while I talk over it. Again, it started differently, and then I kept adding and kept changing instruments and just going with the flow. And really this helped me, because I wanted to make something, but it didn't have to be that something that turned out. Sorry, I'm really struggling a little bit with expressing myself. So, like I said, I wanted to have it sound like Dreamweb, but it wasn't. If it didn't sound like Dreamweb, no one would care, because it was just set for me. And in the end, as you can hear, it turned into something that is essentially a best of different console generations. And once I figured this out, I really leaned into it. So we have the drums are from the NES, then we have the Game Boy. Later on, there is a Genesis FM synth coming in. We have the Commodore SID chip, and I think that's it. Well, we don't have one Commodore SID chip. We have all the green ones. What's the other green called? Blue. I'm a colorist. don't sue me. So all these blue ones here are SID chips, so that is the music chip from the Commodore 64, and the Genesis, we have only one lead. But overall, this is the music track that I made yesterday and also today, when I just wanted to tweak one or two things, and then poof, 2 hours were gone. So again, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out, and I want to design a nice cover for it. So I'll just skip ahead a little so that you can hear some of the other parts in this song. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it sounds. Okay, Kirsty says stream is okay so far. That's good, because apparently having this many sound chip emulators in one project, when I was composing it, somehow sometimes the sound card would just stutter, and the buffer would underrun, and I had weird glitches, and then it couldn't keep up with real-time processing of all the emulated synthesizers and chips, which is really something, because if you feel like this is just audio, this is not trying to process millions of pixels every second or frame, this is just audio, but apparently there's much more processing involved than I would think it is. So stream is okay, good. And a good prince says new music, I like how it sounds, kind of funky, very nice. Thank you so much. Like I said, apparently it's trance music. Never thought that I was into trance music, but once I had this 303 in there, apparently something in my brain clicked and said, you know what, let's just go with it. So I will stop it right there. The 303, by the way, if that's all gibberish to you, I will just solo this. So the 303, this is not an actual 303, is another synthesizer. It's a bass synthesizer by the good old Roland Corporation, and this is how it sounds. So this is the archetypical, that's the word, trance and acids music sound. And I think this was the first digital synthesizer I started out with. So again, as always with me, there's lots of nostalgia involved. So this project, it doesn't look like it, but it's I think 8 to 10 hours of work in there. And right now, I don't think I'm going to change it. When I make music, I usually listen to it straight afterwards in just a loop on different settings and different devices. So I listen to it on the phone, I listen to it through the soundbar, I listen to it in the car while driving, because it always sounds a little bit different, and sometimes you really figure out, okay, you cannot hear this part on the phone, or the other part is way too much in your face, or you hear things that you thought were drowned in the mix but aren't in a certain listening condition. So again, for me, it's like with color grading, it's similar, and you just watch it on different devices and different screens, and then you can see if you missed something. Trends, says Kersey. Indeed. Is this is this an text emoji, an ASCII emoji with headphones? I hope. Oh God, I sound like a boomer. I'm sorry. And Lady Miss Leaf says, I listened to this yesterday and I really did feel like I feel Pete. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. To be fair, I always disliked screamo music, and now I'm into Electric Callboy. I have no idea what or who Electric Callboy is, but it's good that you found something. This is really something, finding new music, that I realized once I was in my late 20s, somehow it stopped for me. And this is bad, because then it's like the classical old people who only listen to what was on the radio when they were young, like with my grandparents or something. And I don't want to be like this. So finding new music is probably really something that is a project by itself. So I started listening to the radio again. And interestingly, there's sometimes music that I like. So maybe if I keep listening to it more regularly, I even remember the names of the artists and maybe can even identify things. Recently I discovered Poppy, and that's an interesting mix of thrash metal and pop music. So who would have thought? A good prince says, I just had this thought as well. Very Phil piece indeed. I never thought that there is something like a Phil piece or a Phil style that you can identify. But if it is, thank you. Apparently, I made something that is so original or so characteristic. That's funny. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, Poppy is great. A good prince knows Poppy. Yeah, right, Poppy. Poppy is Poppy rocks. Okay, Lady Misleaf will link an Electric Callboy song in the Discord. Yes, please do, please. Like I said, always nice finding new music that I don't hate. For some reason, rap music never stuck with me, because I always felt like, same thing with reggae. It felt like, yeah, but where's the musical? I'm lacking the musical interest or the musical intrigue in it, because most of the time it's just a couple of samples or loops that are literally looped. And the important part with rap music is not the music part; it's what they say and the entire text of it, right? And for me, it's like, yeah, someone's talking, but I really want to listen to the music. So, yeah, probably I'm not the right target audience, which is fine. Lady Misleaf says, I never got into rap either, but Eminem's Houdini lived rent-free in my head for days. For me, it was a good old Slim Shady, right? I mean, sometimes you have music or certain songs that transcend their genre, at least for you personally. What was the other thing? I was really into Johnny Cash, like 15, 16 years ago or something. I don't know why, just like the good old somewhat backwater sounding country music. It felt like this is so weird, but I kind of like it. Oh, thank you for redeeming Hydrate. Oh, consider listening to Weird Al doing rap. Okay, Weird Al. That's another thing. But with Weird Al, this is not something that you can listen to while you're doing something else. You really have to sit down and listen to the lyrics. But yeah, shout out to Weird Al. For those who don't know, Weird Al Yankovic, I think he started just doing satire songs, right? Which sounded like the original songs, like pop songs, like Britney Spears or something, but with a very ironic and satirical lyrics over it, and of course the accordion. So that's really something. So probably I have to listen to Weird Al again, because somehow it dropped off my radar. So making art. First is, of course, what should it look like? And the good thing is I don't have to start completely from scratch. Because I already here for my artist music making persona, that is Ditherista, I already somehow managed to arrive at a certain visual style for it. And it as you can see here, this looks all very, very similar in terms of color and composition, more or less. So what I want to do is just something in this vein. So what I started doing is, you can see this here, it's a very layered approach, very monochromatic approach, but overall it's always a very distinct shape that hopefully in some way reflects the music, or at least is inspired by the music. And I started, of course, when Midjourney was the greatest thing. I started doing, I can do all my album covers from Midjourney, so I can just be done with it. And for example, here this cathode ray amusement device. This is a Midjourney thing. And of course, the closer you look at it, I mean, if you look here at what's going on here on these edges, the closer you scrutinize something that was generated with AI, the more mistakes and errors you see. And again, this is really something where I thought, you know what, this maybe kickstarts my imagination for making covers. And I mean, here this cat, for example, it looks kind of neat. This was just gardening cat, but then what's it with the ear? Where does the ear come into play? Weird, right? So again, the closer you look at it, the less you like it. And so I think this one here is from all the AI stuff, probably still my favorite, still with the weird, what's this thing here? Again, don't look too closely at it. But overall, this is, after that, I thought, you know what, let's do it the old-fashioned way and just combine pictures. And so, for example, here Paper Trail, that's no AI. Ferrum Fletus, no AI. Mist of Lankarden, no AI. Skirmion Storm, no AI. So this Melatonin, this one is Midjourney. Gardening Midjourney. Kalinka, I mean, the Game Boy is my own, but this thing here was made with Midjourney. Soothsayer, Alhazred, Pentis, in-game, and cathode ray amusement device. Those are all, Midjourney generated, which again, in the long term, I want to replace with human created art. Kersey says, consider listening to Weird Al doing rap covers. Yes, and Weird Al is great, and he's still around doing music and tours for decades. I've seen, I think the last time that I've heard of him was on Twitter, but I think recently also on Blue Sky, someone shared that he was touring again. So again, I feel like, Weird Al is such a weird but so wholesome kind of guy. I think I once watched this movie with Weird Al, something about a radio station, or was it a TV station? It's like WKR something. So probably have to watch it again. Have the DVD around somewhere. But yeah, Weird Al, thumbs up for good old Weird Al. So where do I source the images from? And it's from my archive of hundreds of years, of thousands of years of taking photos. And the other source is good old Unsplash. If those of you know already what Unsplash is. Those who don't, Unsplash is pretty cool because it has high quality photos. Also, as you can see here when I'm scrolling over it, artistically high quality photos. And when you click on something, you can see here it is tagged very well. It tells you on what this was shot and when usually, and you can free to use it under the Unsplash license, which is even commercial things. All you have to do is, of course, credit the author if you use it. So, and again, overall, the quality and the resolution of these kinds of images is very, very good. So the only thing is that Unsplash has recently been acquired by Getty Images, and if you go to Unsplash, your page looks a little bit different than mine. Because you can see here I have a couple of white gaps here in between, and this is I'm injecting some custom CSS, and the reason for this is like I said, it was acquired by Getty, and so among all the free images that they provide, still from when they acquired Unsplash, they also try to sell you some Getty images. So among the free to use images, there are, wherever here is a white spot, they're trying to sell you one of their premium images that you can license. So the idea is when you find something that you really like and which isn't part of any of the others, the chances are higher for you to buy it. And personally, I'm very prone to this kind of business model. So what I did now is with CSS, I have here this very simple CSS, and I realized that if someone has this kind of class, if some div has this class, it's the class of the premium images on this side. So, and this all I'm doing is I'm hiding everything that is premium, because again, I don't even want to see it lest I want to buy it. I can switch it off, and this is how this site looks. So everything that has a plus sign is a premium Unsplash or a premium Getty Images thing. So again, this is to safeguard myself from myself, that I'm not buying something. And oh my God, what is this? Microsoft Copilot is making images. Oh God, I hate it. Oh, really? So, okay, this probably is something that also, and it also says here promoted. Beautiful. Okay, so probably I have to add another thing that I want to hide. But yeah, apart from these outliers, like as you can see, this pretty is nice, high quality imagery of things. I mean, a sailboat. And like I said, even in good quality, not something that you would easily find somewhere, especially with a license that you can use. UHF is the movie. Thank you. That's the thing, right? And it's good. Okay, I hope it still holds up, because it's been quite a while since I've seen it. What a nifty tool, says a good prince. Yeah, I mean, of course, with CSS, it's you have to know what you're doing, in other words, which means it's just a lot of experimentation to figure out, okay, how can I select this one page element that I want to do something with. But overall, the cool thing is you can pretty much change anything on a website when you know what you're doing. So let's say, can I do this? Let's say body background color, and change the background color. Of course, I have to type it correctly. Let's go with red or something. say done, reload, and nothing has changed because apparently if you inspect it, it's not the good old body background, but they're using all sorts of, so here behind it is the body, and on top is a div with a div, and then we have the navigation. So yeah, this, I wanted to show you something quick, but okay. Oh, apparently I also closed it without saving. Anyway, yeah, it's just really something. I also use it on other websites, for example, to hide the frame where the ads are. For example, this is super helpful. And the cool thing about this extension is it saves it on a per page basis. So of course it doesn't hide when I'm not on Unsplash images of this certain class. Pexels, says venereal disease, is also a great choice for stuff like this. It's also free for commercial use, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I've heard of Pexels. It's also a European company. That is good. I've heard of Pexels, but didn't hear of, haven't used it. But this is cool. Do you need an account to download from Pexels? But yeah, this looks very similar. And there's even, what is this, edit? Oh no, is this an AI thing again? Or is this just a okay, Canva. Okay, good. So I think Canva is more or less like a PowerPoint. Okay, all good. We need Control S emote. Yeah, indeed. maybe it's the maybe I can make something with a cute little floppy disk or something. Pexels, thank you very much. And I can look here for photos and videos. That's very cool. And what does it say? License. What is allowed? Pexels are free to use. Attribution is not required. You can modify the photos. Be creative with them as you like. Not allowed. Identifiable people. Don't sell unaltered copies. Don't imply endorsement. Don't distribute or sell the photos to other stock, and don't use as part of your trademark or trade name. That's all. I think that's very fair. This is very generous. So the good thing is, again, nothing is there are still things on the internet that are good. It's not like the good things are all gone or all monetized. So as for the artwork, of course, he says, I have a template for this kind of things, because I always have, this is usually when I start with a new project, I try to make a template out of things that I can build upon easily. And sometimes, I don't need it because it's just a one-shot thing. But other times it's pretty helpful that I do have certain presets, like here where I have my song tags from the preset is from 2010, and then I have another from 2020 and another from 2022, and all looks a little bit different. You can see here I tried with a different font and logo here at the bottom. So in the end, I think with the latest one, this is the Game Boy. So let's start with, what was the last I made? I think Message Pump, this one here. So yeah, that's not the latest one, but still it's a good one. And let's duplicate this so that I'm not overwriting anything. And I already have here my groups and things set up. So the most important part is here this gradient map on top, because this maps the signature colors over everything. So the gradient map, where do I have it? I have a number of different gradients that I use, and you can see here I can choose which one of those four, because they will always work with. Okay, I'm just overlaying here a gradient, not using it as a ramp. That's very, very helpful, Phil. So the gradient ramp, there it is. So I can just give the entire image, just by choosing a different ramp, a completely different appeal. And yeah, those are the blues, but sometimes here the purples, I kind of like it. If you want to have something that is a little bit more eye-popping, this gradient mapping is pretty fun, because you can see here it's easy or rather quick to get something that looks very artsy and art directed, and now throw some text on, some typography, and you have your art exhibition poster already there. Venereal says, yeah, I'll always sing Pexel's praises because their API saved me a lot of work on my thesis. Oh, this is cool. So they have even API access. That's very cool. So now I'm curious. What was your thesis about when it was involving Pexels? Was it very technical, or were you just grabbing 20,000 photos from them because you were comparing, I don't know, the appearance of Skylight? Right. So the other thing that I already have here set up is that I already have this masking group here where I can essentially just pipe in a shape. So, right. And let me just throw everything out that I have. And as you see here, I like when it's a little bit abstract. So this is usually what I'm starting out with. Is I'm just collecting some photos that I like. So let's look at Pexels and go with abstract and see what we can find. So this is already looking very nice and abstract. You have some abstract painting here. And so my only thing is that, like I said, it's called Cube Rush. Did I say that the track is called Cube Rush? So if something involves cubes or things like that, this would be nice. But I mean, this thing here, this motion vectors or whatever this is, I kind of like it. You know what? Let's keep this open in a tab. And so those are all very, very round and organic. And I was looking for something a little bit more artificial. So let's go with abstract or cubes. Or let's just, yeah, look at this. There we already got some cubes. Maybe this is a little bit too abstract, but you know what? We will see. Just open up tabs like there's no tomorrow, and then we'll see what we can use. Okay, Venereal Disease was working on a system for a more abstract image similarity based on objects and style. Oh, interesting. Based on very old style transfer research. Okay, so this is image cognition or image recognition, artificial. That's very cool. Oh wow! I now that I'm just thinking about it, how do you define style, and all these kinds of very fuzzy things on how to define a style or a mood, or what are really the quantifiable identifiers for something like it? Okay, yeah, it makes sense that this is a thesis. Because it's not something that you just muse about for an afternoon and come to a conclusion. This cube here, this reminds me of the good old Silicon Graphics logo, SGI logo. Anyone remembers the Silicon Graphics? This is not it. There we go. There, that's the one. I was such a Silicon Graphics fanboy in the 90s because for some reason just a little bit of background. What is Silicon Graphics? They had the beefiest graphics rendering machines available in the 80s and 90s. So nowadays, of course, you can render pretty much anything with ray tracing on your phone. But back then, those machines, sometimes some of them offered, like the Indigo station or something, real-time 3D playback. And at resolutions beyond 1,000 pixels wide. I mean, nowadays it's pretty laughable. But back then, I was just amazed by this. If you know the first Donkey Kong Country 1 SNES renders, the entire game here was rendered on these kind of CGI machines, and this is really what made this look so new and interesting, because it looked so real. But now, of course, when you look at nowadays, you can see here, okay, this is a part of the texture, and here it repeats but gets stretched on this rope and so on. So yeah, and everything looked very plasticky and so on. But overall, we didn't care. At least for me, I was just soaking this up because for some reason this aesthetic just struck me. So and maybe I can have here something similar with a feeling. I don't know. Again, all I need is seeing a cube like this, and I'm thinking of Silicon Graphics. Okay, Venereal Disease says, yeah, lol, in the end, it's very arbitrary because you say it's very fuzzy. Everyone has different idea. Oh my God, yeah, style or taste. Also regarding the API, if you ever need it, I'm pretty sure it's very generous. You can make 20,000 requests per month, if I recall. Okay, that is very generous. One thing that I've encountered the opposite is, I think some of you were there when I tried to mass send via Redbubble. They have their inbuilt messaging service. So if a buyer sends you a message, it's not like Redbubble gives you their email address. They say, hey, you have new Bubble mail, and you can reply to it and read it in your Bubble mail folder on the website. So of course, when I was leaving Redbubble, because reasons, I wanted to get to everyone who bought from me or sent me an email like from 7 years ago. I wanted to say, hey, thank you for buying this stuff from me, and I'm leaving Redbubble, but if you're interested here, this is the address of my new shop. And after like 3 or 4 of these messages, I think I got somehow rate limited because Redbubble, the back end, realized, okay, someone is sending out messages in quick succession and with links to them. We cannot have this. I tried after 24 hours. I tried after 2 or 3 days. It still didn't work anymore. So, and having something like Pexels allow you 20,000 per month or so. That's really, like I said, that's very generous. That's a lot. Oh, look at this. There's a Tetromino. Thank you for telling me. Maybe I need this. I don't know what for, but it's good to know that it's there. Oh, I'm sorry for the automated unicorn is bored. I'm sorry for that. So yeah, nothing really strikes my fancy there. So maybe I should look at something. What I also like with my music covers is that it hints at something bigger. And usually I go with something like space. Because if you see it's just a star field or a planet somewhere, suddenly it feels much more expansive. And I really like this. So let's see if I can find here. Oh, let's go with space and planet. What we can find there. I love planet photos and NASA things and that kind of stuff. As a kid, I used to have this Our Solar System, this book. It was oversized, and it was from the early 80s. So which means the best photos you had were of the moon and Earth, and all the others were just different different varieties of gray, very fuzzy photos. And of course it was just, this is Pluto, here's a photo of Pluto, and it was just like blob. So okay, cool. So nowadays you really have amazing images compared to what I grew up with. So I'm still amazed by space photography. This one looks very cool. I don't know if I can use it, but yeah, it's open. It's open in my tab, and let's take it. So copy image, and let's plop it in there here for my background. Oh yeah, so like I said, I have here different shapes. So which shape do I want to use for this one? And again, since it's called something cube, cube rush, I could use just a rectangle, but probably that's a little bit boring. So instead, I want to use a hexagon. And the reason for this is, if I manage to draw a nice hexagon, is I can show you in a second. It needs to be turned by 90 degrees, like so. So this is going to be my shape, and the reason for this is it looks like a cube in isometric view. So this would be the outline of an isometric cube. And maybe I can play with this. Okay, so first let me center this on the canvas, something like this, and use it as a shape layer. There we go. And maybe have some music in the background again, since it's just me talking. And Mr. Troy is here. Hello, Mr. Troy. We're making a cover for my latest trance release. Well, it's not released, so this is why I'm making a cover, so that I can upload it. And Venereal Disease pointed me to this wonderful thing that is called Pexels.com, which has a super generous API with like 20,000 requests per month, and also royalty-free images and videos. And again, it's a bit like the only thing that I knew before or used before was unsplash.com. But if you ever need some high quality photos, pretty neat. Oh, look, Lübecker Straße. This is somewhere in Germany. And it's a video even of a passing train. Okay, why not? And video, apparently, yes. Oh, hello, Kersey. I mean, Kersey was here, right? But, oh, Mr. Troy, you already know Pexels. Yeah, I've heard of it, but never used it. But so this is today, I'm like I say, I always learn something. With every stream, I learn something new. So, right, what do I want to go with? Probably I should, maybe I should just nail it down a little bit. You know what? This is kind of unusual for my trance music. So let me just paste. Oh, I didn't copy it. I just copied the polygon. Say thanks. I just want to copy the image. Didn't I copy it? Yes, now I copied it. So and by having just one shape on top of another shape like this, suddenly it already feels like there is something going on. And of course, when I put on top here my image treatment, I mean it's not looking very good right now or very interesting, but already you can already see that maybe there's something in there that looks good as a cover. Something like this, maybe. I mean, if the reflection were a little bit better still. What would make work amazing is if I could have here this lozenge here on top. Is this how you pronounce it? Lozenge? This shape here, this diamond shape here, because again I wanted to look or have this appearance of this isometric cube. So just real quick, let's invert this, and already getting somewhere with abstract art. Yes, another Pexels fan. And Venereal DC says, it's crazy how just not being an evil company is enough to make a loyalist out of me. Right? I always feel like nowadays it's completely the opposite as how it was like 20 years ago. When you downloaded something from this one person who's saying or claiming they make an image editor all by themselves, and they're sitting, I don't know, somewhere in Latvia, and you haven't heard of them, and all their webpage is a .edu. I wouldn't download from them. This sounds like crappy software. Trust the big guys. Trust Microsoft or Adobe or Yahoo, right? And nowadays it's the opposite. I always joke. I'd rather if there's a tool made by Adobe and the same tool made by, I don't know, a furry in Cambodia. I take the one. Of course, I will use the software from this one furry person in Cambodia because they really are behind it, and not the money. It's the passion of they want to supply something or share something with the world that they made, and in the hopes that it makes their lives easier. And it's not like, okay, what is the most minimal product we can put out where we can charge people money for, and legally we're giving them just enough value so that they can sue us. It really feels like that. Cambodian furries, indeed. But I'm saying this by using while I'm using Photoshop. So okay, you know what? This already also looks kind of good. See, I love this collaging around, where it's just like, you just browse nice looking pictures and then take something that speaks to you or not, where you feel like, you know what, these mountains, I kind of like them. Copy image, paste image. Look, this is already an album cover, right? But one thing that I probably should make sure is that this diamond shape here that I cut out, I don't think it's if we look at that's very at the tip, and down here it's not. So this is not very symmetrical. Probably I want this symmetrical. So how can I get this symmetrical? Probably if I just copy here the path. Yeah, you know what? Let me just copy the path, the entire path, not just this one part, and make this here as a new shape layer or image mask, and then I just work here on the path. There we go. So all I need to do is take out from this hexagon the space in between, but apparently it won't let me because it's still marked here as a shape. So this will turn it into a regular shape. Continue. Yes, I want to continue, but not when I'm modifying it in a way that I don't like. So I'm just inserting here random anchor points that I just then just move away. Or what if I delete it here and I delete this there? No, this was too much. I probably should zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing here. So that's the wrong tool. Oh, I just hit A. That's the right tool. So where am I? Here I'm just going to delete. No. To delete this one anchor point here, but why won't it let me? Okay, now it let me. So now if I just move up the bottom part with the top part, no? Didn't I just delete you? Yes, I did. Okay. So now if I just merge those two segments, then I have this diamond shape that I'm looking for. It won't let me. Look at this. This is... I'm moving it, but I'm moving the entire path. Is this... How is this? Why? Okay, now it works. All good. All good. And can I join the path? So now I've managed to get it done. Okay, how can I do this? Edit, merge path. Is there something like that? Apparently not. That's the thing when you want to do Illustrator things in Photoshop. By the way, I had a conversation with Connie today, and we realized that Adobe is really the uncrowned king of, in all their tools of, I didn't mean to select this, I want to modify something else. And for some reason, even in Photoshop, in Illustrator, in After Effects, in Premiere, somehow it gets worse with their user interface, where it's many times you select or click something that you didn't mean to select. And of course, I thought it's probably my error as a user. And then I started using Nuke, and they have a very clever way of so that you can only modify what you actually mean to modify without cluttering up everything. So it's possible. This is what I'm just saying. So when I look here at the preview, you can see here it already looks like how I want it to look. So I'm not messing with trying to fuse the paths together. It's just, you know what, I would just stick with it. So, and now you can see here it kinda already works. So this is a very nice looking, very stylized isometric looking cube. So all of course I need to do now is make it look nice in a way that I like it. So one thing that usually helps is having here this thumbnail preview. So this is why I'm having here this navigator down most of the time. So when something that you make also works when you squint at it or look at it in a very tiny window, then most of the time it works also in big. The problem is if something that is very intricate and only works when you view it in large, then sometimes it might becomes a problem when you scale it down for, I don't know, thumbnail views or with Steam games when you have this capsule art and it's very flimsy and intricate, and it just items or details just blend together and it looks just like I don't know what this is. And yeah, this is really something that you want to avoid. And my trick to this is working here with kind of negatives. So to define here the shape of this imaginary cube, you can see here actually the background here looks pretty much like here the sky here. So the reflection of the sky looks similar. So if I move up here this mountain, suddenly the outline here becomes much more defined, and even in the small things. So it's always trying to find contrasts where you want defined edges. So this edge here of this side of the cube is light and the background here is dark. And here it's the other way around. We have here this bright reflection, but here the dark mountains, for example. So if I were to rotate here the mountains so that we just look at the sky, this is not rotating. Oh, it's that big. This is rotating. Then it's not as clear when you look at it. I mean, thankfully there's slight brightness contrast, but you know what? I kind of like this weird look anyway. Maybe I can use something like here the foreground instead to work. But yeah, this is when I'm trying things out and they don't really come together. I try to do things like this where it's okay, I'm not sure how I want it to look, but if I just line up here the contrasting image elements or find something that is like this, I don't know, tuft of grass here that is now in the center and now feels like it's being emphasized through the shape. Again, it's just moving things around and trying to emphasize shape. So where am I? Is it? No, this is the other background. Of course, if there is too much happening, like if I were to move the tree over here, again here in the thumbnail, you can see here this, you don't really understand what you're looking at. So this might be here for the background. Despite the tree looking kind of nice, it's probably best when I keep it out so that the background here is not as pronounced. Or maybe I can move it here and have a different background and suddenly everything changes. So, but I haven't downloaded all the things that I meant to download. What's it here with the copy image with the planets? Where do they fit in? Will they fit in? Where could they fit in? So, I mean, again, this already looks very spacey. But if I put it here in the background, well, yeah, it's the thing. I really love these planets, but they work a little bit against my cube idea. Hey Frank, thank you so much for dropping by. Wonderful of you to join at this late an hour. It's not that late, but we all know the clock, big clock says it is late. So I'm just trying to make a cover for my latest music, and it has to do with cubes. At least that's in the title. So I'm trying to see if I can find something that fits. So for example, this background here, if we look here again at the small thumbnail view of the navigator, it's hard to make out what is actually happening, that this is supposed to be some sort of isometric cube. If I put this in again, it doesn't really help. So yeah, this background, the cube background is way too busy. Can I use it somewhere else? Maybe here in the foreground. I could, but now I'm just realizing that they use a slightly different perspective that I am using here on my perfect hexagon. So yeah, that's not gonna work. This will probably annoy me to no end. You can download the high-res versions without an account, by the way. Oh, can I? Oh, can I? Free download. Yeah, oh, then I have to save it and move it to Photoshop. So I'm lazy. This is why I usually go right-click and copy, unless, of course, I really need the big version of it. But yeah, thank you for letting me know. This, I think also with Unsplash, you can download without the need for an account. Oh, this is very generous. This is, again, I like this. And Lady Mistleaf says here, I wonder if you would get an inspiration from digital blasphemy. What is digital? I think I've heard this. Blasphemy. Is it better than digital homicide? Oh, the 3D wallpapers. I think I've seen this somewhere. That's a painted desert? Yeah, the problem is when I'm finding something here that I'm inspired, then of course I want to right click and copy, and I think I cannot do this here from taking other people's wallpapers that they made. But you know what? That's cool. It's just for inspiration. That's kind of neat. I mean, that's really something, having here this winding road in front of, I don't know what this is. Tendrils out of water in front of a big Saturn shape with clouds. You know what? This is inspiring. This looks like a new age cover from the 80s. Thank you. Who won the quiz today? Yeah, that's a good question, Lady Misleaf. So probably you're right. Yes, Lady Misleaf, I believe. And the Ghoul Prince says, need to go. Most of luck for the arting night, y'all. Thank you so much for dropping by. Ghoul Prince, have a wonderful week. And yeah, I hope you get lots of inspiration. And even if not, just look out after yourself. You'll be fine. Whatever it is that is bothering you, it's hard to know in the moment, but it will pass. It will pass. All the best. So, what else is abstract but contrasty, but not too much? Yeah, I'm hard to please here, but with some things, like I said, if I see it and if I know it, then I click like this one here. Why do I like it? I don't know. It could kind of work. Let me just paste it. I did not paste it. So right click, copy image. Now I pasted it. So maybe because of the grid, let's rotate it a little. I think I'm a sucker for central perspective. I just realized, because when you look here at my other covers, like this one here from Message Pump, or what was the other one here for the Cherenkov effect, everything has here this central perspective, which I kinda apparently like. This wasn't now that I'm seeing it, or now that I realized it, I'm seeing it, of course. But yeah, when I was designing it, again, I was just going with my gut and said, yeah, you know what, put this in. This looks nice, and now I know why I liked it. You know what? This is a great photo. I like this. That's a very good photo. So, should I just use abstract things, or, I mean, here with this kind of mountain, maybe there is something similar. Oh, I like it that it shows me similar images that might be inspiring. My only problem is they're a little bit too similar. I think this is always the same mountain. But yeah, let's just keep on scrolling. Let's go with nature. Maybe we find something there. Yeah, there's lots of interpretations of nature. The handbook of punishment. What? how are two? What are those Macrons? How are those to nature? Probably you can figure it out if you think about it hard enough. Probably I should go with landscape then, because that's what I was looking for, I think. So, thank you so much. You're so kind. Same words back to you, Sparkles emoji. Oh, you're welcome. You're probably already gone, but you're welcome. So, landscape is highway going through a nice landscape. But maybe there's something there. Is this the same? I think that's the same thing. Yeah, it's from Po Thomas. Or Faux Thomas. Yeah, it's this one here. I don't know why apparently I have an eye for this. That's one thing when you're doing color grading, because you're scrutinizing all the shots in a sequence very closely, and sometimes you spot, oh, they moved the actor behind there because it looked similar or like a different place, but in other shots you can see parts of it, and it's a little bit like playing Sherlock Holmes, trying to figure out how they shot something. Lady Misleaf says, just a thought, maybe a beautiful natural landscape in the background. The cube has glowing edges as it's a magical container, and inside the cube is a universe, planet or stars or galaxy. Interesting. I think I know what you mean. I think let's try this. Thank you for inspiring me, Lady Misleaf. Okay, let's take a relatively low contrast background. Let's go with this and paste it here as our background. So now it's a little bit like this and floating. And let's make here this glow effect. Am I using the right brush? Yes, I'm using the right brush, but painting on the wrong layer. Never mind, because I'm going to blur it anyway. Let's try this, and I'm going to blur it just a little bit first. Let's make this all the brightest color. I want to say all white, but since I'm overlaying here this gradient ramp, I'm just making it white or bright. So let's make this a little bit softer and have another one and use the blending of additive blending on top of it. So then we have this glow effect. Oh, Commander Stitch just dropped in. Just woke up and my wife made bread. Oh, congratulations, fresh bread. This is congratulations, because I would assume the entirety of your environment now smells absolutely delicious. There's nothing better than fresh bread. Congratulations. Venereal disease, that's the only appropriate reaction to homemade bread. Indeed it is. We can change the color later. This is just trying it out. Of course, yeah. But I think if it has here this bright glow, this already has something to it. I already like it. Thank you. And yes, waking up to the smell of homemade bread must be amazing. Bread. Because bread. So, was here I notice here a slight discrepancy between how nice it looks here on top, the edge here, and it looks like here I forgot some parts down here. But never fear, I will just merge everything together and cut it here in center, and then just flip it. Image. Adjustments, no, it was not adjustments. Edit, transform, there we go. Flip, vertical. There we go. Now it's rather symmetrical. I like this. Baking with Phil, a new show soon. Maybe. No, I'm joking. I mean, does anyone of you know the Nailed It show on Netflix? This is something that Connie and I have been binging for weeks now. And of course, once you've seen people making cakes. Okay, so for those who don't know, the show is about this. They show a perfectly made cake, and then they have like 3 amateur bakers, and they give them a time limit, and they say, okay, recreate this in 90 minutes or 2 hours or something. And of course, once they show it and everything is said and done, they say, nailed it. And of course, it doesn't look like most of the time just as intricate and beautiful as the original cake. And of course, once you've seen the same mistakes, people making the same mistakes over and over again, you have this weird and I would say unhealthy synthesis of competence, where you feel like, of course, everyone knows you shouldn't put the cakes inside in their pans into the blast freezer. You put them out, or you use lots of baking powder when you make your cake, and that sort of thing. So, and of course, at some point this gets to your head. And long story short, I already bought some piping bag thingies and some flour so that I can try my hand at baking. So probably not on stream, but maybe it's going to be a new hobby. Again, I have to set time aside and also ingredients. Disagree, says Lady Miss Leaf. Phil can do nerd stuff. Any cooking scenes in LD are Connie. She needs her own cooking stream. Indeed, yes, we can. Maybe I can convince Connie to do some baking, because she made some little chocolates when we were still in the old flat. I'm not sure if she's still interested in this, because it's a bit like with us other nerds. I think last time it was, or was it on the discussion on Discord, where it's like, the interesting part is figuring out this problem. Is, can I do this? Do I manage to do this? Can I make this happen? And once you do it, you think, you know what? I think I can make ice cream now. With an ice cream maker, it's no big deal. The interest is gone, because I know what's next on the horizon. So it's one of these kinds of situations. Or Connie does the cooking and Phil does the plate arrangements. Yeah, what we've realized is when we made cookies for Christmas some years back, I love doing the intricate decoration things. Connie says she can't stand it being taking this long to do things like this. And for me, this is just pure bliss when I can zone in on a little problem, and it's just swirl after swirl after swirl after swirl and repeat 10,000 times or something. So maybe we can find something. And a tutorial on how to make Kaiserschmarrn. I've made Kaiserschmarrn, and it wasn't too bad. It just takes a little bit time to separate the yolks from the egg whites, and then beat the egg whites and sugar and flour. But I mean, it's possible. It's possible. So maybe I don't have plans for it, but yeah, let's see if I can. Just wondering if I can. Where to put the cameras in the kitchen. Probably not going to be a live stream or something, but maybe. Those chocolates in the postmortem did look really good. Yes, it's when you melt the chocolate yourself, and you can of course adjust the amount of sugar and all the ingredients. Very tasty. The only downside is, of course, you eat way too much chocolate of this, especially when you're trying things out. And the worst part is not the chocolates. When you make an entire tray of chocolates, is also the pans of chocolates, where the little pans where you melted chocolate, for example, what Connie had. So and of course she said, okay, I'm done with coating the chocolate, so this can go into the into the dishwasher, right? And I said, oh no, there's still so much chocolate inside, still in the pan. You really want to throw this away? No, we cannot have this. I grabbed a spoon and ate the molten chocolate, dark chocolate, out of this pan. It was not a big pan, but truth be told, chocolate, if you eat a lot of chocolate and very strong chocolate, it has this numbing effect. And I was drooling chocolate and didn't know it because I couldn't feel it, because I couldn't feel the inside of my mouth anymore, just from spooning the chocolate. So point is, be careful what you wish for. So I always wanted to spoon to be spoon-fed, to spoon-eat a molten fresh chocolate. And yeah, I have, and I paid the price. Yes, we require Cooking Phil teaching us how to do Kaiserschmarrn, chef's hat and flour on his face, mandatory. Yeah, one thing I can already assure, and it's not chef's hat. But yeah, it's good to know that there might be a let's say, a mildly interested audience, at least for one of these streams. Maybe I plan something. I just realized I haven't saved this, whatever I made right now. So let's save this and call this Cube Rush. Cube Rush, because working in an Adobe product and not saving, dangerous. Because I mean, Photoshop is relatively stable. And so I'm working on something where I feel like, yeah, it's just a very quick collage for work, just throwing things together. I don't need to save this. And it's not like I'm using huge sizes of layers or any effects or something. It's really just move, transform, position, maybe recolor. And Photoshop can handle this just fine. Until it can't. And for some reason, you just select a different layer or duplicate a layer, and then you get the little circle, and you go, oh crap, oh no. And yeah, you never know when Photoshop's gonna crash. Oh, okay, Commander Stitches, we've loved making Kaiserschmarrn. Oh, wonderful that you enjoyed it, and I hope it tasted well. Frank says, I just hope things don't go wrong and we don't get Future Phil instead. Yeah, Future Phil probably will burn it because he forgets about time. Or whereas Alpha Wolf, oh indeed, Alpha Wolf. Alpha Wolf will probably say, you know what, this is made with eggs. You shouldn't buy eggs. These come out of animals. And let's go out in the field and find some eggs. Yeah, oh god, oh dear, yeah. Ow! Oh dear. Maybe that's how he gets the flour on his face. He gets surprised by either one of those mid-cooking. I mean, this would be a visual effects nightmare, but it would be like 3 Phils trying to cook one Kaiserschmarrn together. But oh dear. So yes, let's try the space cube thingy. Where is my space background? Didn't I just have the space background somewhere? No, this was the cube background. Okay, so this is the background that I want for the background. The background that I want for the background. I mean, now this now looks like some sort of weird window, which again, you know what? I don't hate it. Let's make this a smart layer so that I can scale it up should I need to again. I'm just at this point, I'm not probably going to do this, but I'm just trying it out how this could look like. And having here a different landscape inside another landscape, but they share the same horizon. You know what? I think that's a pretty striking idea. Probably not going to use it for this one, but let's increase here the contrast a little bit. Oh, I'm just increasing here the contrast on the top part. Okay, happy accident. Let's keep it. What I wanted to do was change the contrast overall in this image here. But of course, if I just put it here, this could work or look nice. You know what? I will deactivate it for now, but let's keep it. Lady Midcliffe says, I did say one of those two. I have some mercy. Thank you, at least at least a little bit. But I mean, we could take turns. I'm just sending it either into the forest for Alpha Wolf to continue cooking, or handing it off and just say, I just leave the cake half unfinished, or the Kaiserschmarrn half unfinished there for 20 years for future Phil to find it, because it travels in time. Okay, for the cube, to make it look like a cube, you would need to add the join in the cube as well, the Y. Yes, this part here, right? I mean, I will I want to see with how little I can get away with. Geez, you altered the colors and it made the mountains look super wide. It made it look like waves. That is, see, this is really what I love about image editing in Photoshop, because with just something like curves. So here, these are my contrast curves for this. And when you just toy around with them, it's interesting how quickly you can arrive at something that looks completely different or interesting. And I never knew that it could look something like this. Just this is also what I say with color grading with my clients when they say, this probably sounds stupid, but could this use more contrast? And I say, who knows? Let's just give it a try and we will see if it works. And Frank briefly considers the concept of fan fiction where Alpha Wolf and Futurefil go on a camping trip together. The idea passes. Oh dear. I mean, on one hand, the idea, a camping trip of those two, it sounds like a The Office episode, a little bit like with Michael going camping. But it could work as an adventure game, as a setting for an adventure game where you have two idiots and they can only use certain things. Lady Miscliffe says, note, I'm giving advice, not instructions. If you don't like the idea, don't worry about offending. Thank you so much. This makes it easier. No, again, as always, I don't know. Let's give it a try and we will see. Oh, that's an excellent idea. You're welcome. Right, so let's get back to getting more images. So I said, let's go universe. What is universe? It's space, but with black holes, apparently. Like this one here. You know what? Without the twist, would have kind of liked it. So should I go with Galaxy then? Again, I want the Horsehead Nebula. That's pretty good one. You know what? Let's go with this one, because I like how the lens flares look here. So paste, and that's just the nebula. Let's make it a bit smaller and see how it fits. Maybe if I reduce the glow a little bit. Or switch off the effect, or just have the effect there on top. So I just make the black a bit more milky, like this. I mean, to me, this looks like a cube, actually. DC says, I really like that inner pic with the post processing, the grass, the sand, the mountains. It's kind of striking. Yeah, it looked a little bit more interesting, right, than the space. And now with the cube on top here, I mean, it has something. It has something. This is really the wonderful miracles that happen when you have just good source photos. Frank says, or an adventure movie, but I'm not sure who would be up for that. Movies have many scenes to edit. That is true, but I've heard, wasn't the director of Compilers Delicious but Deadly? What are they up to nowadays? Yeah, looks like a cube. Okay, good. Commander Stitch loves the cube. Okay, now the colorist in me comes out, and this is where I feel here, yeah, there is little texture happening here on top. And what I just realized is, where is this gray stripe coming from? Is this here from my... yes. This is the path that I said, yeah, you know what? I'm not bothering fusing these two together. So, yeah, that's the thing. Because we're in sub-pixel territory now. So if I move this one pixel on top, then this little gray glitch should be gone. So, okay, as for here for the top, let's make it not as bright for starters. So that it's just a little bit more milky, like this. And the mountains underneath. Let's see what I can do with the mountains. So let's make another curves effect here and see how we can process this. So if we just make it a bit darker, like so, but now I'm using here I mean, this curve, for those who haven't worked with this kind of image manipulation, essentially this is a lookup. So for everything that is dark in the input, I want it to be dark in the output. Or for everything that is bright on the input, I want it to be bright in the output. So essentially, if you don't do anything to an image, this is just a diagonal going from dark to light. So what I'm doing is now I'm following this diagonal roughly up until here. I say everything that is between here tends to be a bit darker, but then for everything that is very bright, I move it back to be dark, and this is how I can get here the sky very dark. Of course, this again looks already very processed. If I just undo it, what I just did, why did I undo it? I just wanted to switch it on or off. Anyway, so it looks like it's already processed and edited, and there's cut out, but essentially this is just image manipulation. And of course, if there is no gradient ramp on top of it, the sky would be inverted in terms of color. So this would be a negative. But again, if I just limit it to this color palette, it kind of looks neat. It kind of does. And Console is also here. Evening. Right, evening all, and Frank says, oh, that director might be up for it, but I hear he has a very hands-off style and he likes delegating things. Oh, well, it could be a boon or a curse, having a very hands-off director. Kersey says, my first impression is like looking through a portal to an alternate dimension. Yes, wonderful. And Venereal Disease says, that's what I was thinking too. Wonderful. Okay, in that case, you know what? I think I like it. Because the song, if it elicits similar feelings like it's a different dimension, then I just keep at it. So on top of my curves effect here of this one, I add now another curves effect and see if I can just here increase the contrast a little bit more. Like this, and underneath, let's go here a little bit darker there on the sky. Look at this. Look at this. And I didn't even have to edit or cut out manually anything. The only thing that I notice here is this, that's you see here the sky, that instead of being this soft transition here, this looks very blocky. This is an effect that we term, that has already been termed as banding, and this is, again, as working as a colorist, also the daily specter of a demon that appears in my work, because you see this with pretty much every mid to low quality cameras, is they don't have enough data points to store very soft transitions or soft gradients, which is fine if you do not manipulate the image. But of course, if you do, suddenly these kinds of banding effects get overly pronounced. And again, this is something that I want to take care of. But for now, I think I like it. Let's see if I can do anything there also in terms with contrast there on the background. If I make it darker, then, well, everything looks kind of darkish, and not really, you don't really see that there is a kind of difference between those two dimensions, so to speak. So if I make the outside, if it's a bit too bright, or let's make the sky a bit darker there, but let's keep everything else a bit brighter. Something like this. Is the background then a little bit too toned down? I would think so. If it's losing a bit there of the blackness. You know what? I think that's a nice middle ground. Let's save this, and you know what? Let me try out different backgrounds now. So this abstract background doesn't work at all. I mean, it works, but suddenly it loses here this feeling, this expansiveness, right? Here it really feels like, okay, you're looking into the distance of something. This is floating. Your head can't quite figure out what this is. And with this background, it says, yeah, it's abstract. It's hard to tell, to feel anything. So what if I use now here this background with a tree instead, and suddenly we have here, what makes it a bit more interesting is here this broken horizon line, because it's reflected here in the water, so you're not quite sure what you're looking at. Or if I move it down, so now everything here feels like it's more in the sky, or we're looking down. You know what? No, I like this before. You know what? Let me save this. So if I have here the universe, it looks cool, but not as good as this, I think, right? So what if we have the universe here on top in this part, or just halfway there on top, something like this, where the universe mixes here with the background a little bit. Oh, you know what? Let me try this. Let's move this around, and if we can line up here this star here with the summit, maybe this has something to it. I think now it looks even more other dimension-ish, because to me other dimensions always feel like it's a bright lit landscape, but you see the vast universe sky there. Make the cube smaller if it's too big. It's the entire focus of the image. With a smaller cube you might get a sense that it's in the environment. You know what? Thank you, but I'm fine with that, because I wanted to work with all the other shapes, and they have been comparatively large. So, and I wanted to, when you view all the thumbnails, that it kind of looks a little bit more cohesive than whatever is happening here. So this is, for example, why for paper trail I already have here also this square. This probably is the smallest thing of these shapes, because all the other shapes go very close to the edges of the border. So I think if you look at it quickly, I really like it that it looks just like a hexagon. But if you stop and look a little bit longer, and then you notice, oh, it looks like a cube. And then if you're looking at this for more than 2 seconds, then I already got you. And then it's very probable that people will realize, okay, there's a landscape there, and this looks different. So that, yeah, essentially that they just will stick with it. Wireless headsets, though, I'm still learning. Okay, also I'm still cleaning my long periods of non-answer. Cleaning, so, I'm also still cleaning, so you're not cleaning your answers. Okay, long periods of non-answer are not a rejection of your progress or ideas. All good, all good. I know it. Sometimes people drop out because something happened, like you spill a glass of water, or someone said, you're still watching that idiot on YouTube or on Twitch, or you think like, I just lost interest in this stream. So all good, all good. So when someone drops out without saying goodbye, I'm absolutely not offended. So be fine. At least I could entertain Mr. Troy. Wonderful. Okay, and wireless headset. Yeah, this makes sense. Otherwise, you're bound, literally bound to whatever it is where you plugged in. So right here now, the top with the stars. Let's see what I can do here in terms of just contrast. Again, I'm just playing with contrast. All that it takes here is different take on contrast. And the other thing, of course, is thumbnail. Always watch it at thumbnail size of what you're doing. Is it still clear? Does it change the edges? For example, I'm noticing it here. It looks pretty neat here on the left and the right, but here this center point, probably one of the most important parts to identify this as a cube in a isometric setting is not working. So what if I rotate this and have here the bright part down here, because now it's even in the small image it's very clear that what this shape is, but I'm lacking a bit of image on that side. So let me rotate this yet again by 180. Did I rotate this by 180? So yeah, this also doesn't really help a lot. But you know what? I will keep here the stars because I like it. I like it when there are stars everywhere. Mr. Troy says, my wife loves when I watch you cause I listen to you as I clean. Oh, that's so you're getting work done. That's wonderful. Oh dear, yeah, I also cleaned house. What was it, yesterday, I think. And what always helps is if you have something to listen to that you don't have to actually pay attention to a lot. So I think my streams are perfect for that, especially when they are art streams. So let me just describe what I'm doing. I just moved stars around and I'm not happy with how the top shape of the cube looks. So let's see if I can find something else that I can layer on top. And you know what? I will just go with light and see if we can find something that is a little bit of abstract. Maybe I should go with light abstract. And then we have just, yeah, something like this, some kind of light leaks. Scroll. Okay, I will go now to unsplash. Is this unsplash? Yeah, this is unsplash. And do the same here. Light, abstract. Okay, there. This one here, this image here, I love it. I use this for the Cherenkov effect cover in the background. So, okay, good that Pexels and Unsplash have a slightly different take on things. Yeah, this is also for the Cherenkov effect, as you can see here. It's just, I love this explosion of stars from the center. So, I like these kind of caustics here. You know what, maybe let's take here this, yeah, whatever this is, lens caustics, and plop it on top of here. And I will say I'm doing an additional blending. So just so that I can get here some sort of light in the bottom. And of course it's a little bit too strong. So, probably have to do this here in its own little layer. So let's make here the black very dark so that it doesn't influence the image when I blend it on top. And go back. So now you shouldn't see the fringes where the image ends. So I think that's a bit better. So I think all that I need is really just this little part here where it peeks in, because again here in the thumbnail preview you can really see that it looks like, okay, there is this part of the cube. It could be a reflection or something, and that's again, it's just enough so that it works in the small preview. I kind of like it. YNOC4 is here and says, congrats on the new video. Oh, thank you. I hope you have watched it already. Okay, really enjoyed the behind of the stream you did. The effort behind the Game Boy was insane. Thank you so much then for watching. So you have seen it and you have watched the stream, and thank you for the kind words. As you know, I'm a nerd, and with the Game Boy and yeah, lots of these kind of things, I want to see how close I can get with all the knowledge that I have on how things should look like. And as you can see, once you start building, it's a bit like with programming. Okay, how abstract can I make this system? How versatile can I make it so that it doesn't work with the images that I feed it, but also pretty much with any image or something like this. And again, it maybe I go a little bit overboard. Same thing with the Simpsons animation. I don't think I have even shown this in the stream, but yeah, this was like 5 hours or maybe a little bit less, but still. If I only had known that it was going to be this labor intensive. But of course, as always, I enjoy the outcome. So I would say I'm pretty much happy with how it looks. Because if I do too much, then it's like, yeah, doctoring too much around with things. It becomes less clear. So one thing that I want to try is with the glow, how far can I dial it back that it still feels like it's somehow glowing or affecting the surroundings, but not as much. I mean, completely without the glow, it still works, but it's not as strong, right? Visually strong. So if I increase it to 100%, it's very clear also here in the little thumbnail view. Let's go with like 2/3, so like 64%. Disclaimer, it's not 2/3 or a half something when you're working in Photoshop, because yeah, this is a huge can of worms when you have, okay, a color is 0 black and 0 red and 100 blue. Well, this was a bad example. So if you have a pixel that is 100% white and you have this another pixel that is 50% white, is it actually 50% the brightness of the 100% pixel? And the answer is, at least in Photoshop, no, it's not. Those are just data points. So if you blend something here with 100% opacity or 40% opacity, it's always being blended at the gamma of the monitor, which is 2.2. So of course you have to essentially, I think, was it 2.4 or 2.2? You have to multiply it also with 0.45 in your head to get the actual light, the linear light value. And you can see from me just going there, there are many things. As soon as you learn about them, it feels like, I mean, brightness of pixels. What could there be to it? And then, yeah, you work with images and pictures and light and compression and encoding, and suddenly you realize, oh, I really have to get a much better understanding that is closer to the actual data of what is being encoded and how. And this haunts me a little bit, because like I said, I cannot say, yeah, just put 2/3 opacity there. I have to explain this to you, but hopefully you get some cleaning done while I do this. YNOC says, when I watched it for the first time, I was really fooled. I thought you did it on real hardware. Excellent. Thank you so much. I was slightly tempted a little bit to try to do this on real hardware, but then I realized there's probably much more work than doing it in After Effects, because as I've shown on the stream, once I have the setup in After Effects, I can just use any image and be done with it without having to do it in Game Boy Studio, set up the camera, set the light, load everything, and then go about it and then hope that it's not blurry or something. So actually this was the easier route. But yeah, YNOC was shocked to see the AE breakdown. Okay, good. I hope in a good way shocked. Lady Misleaf says, and quotes me, if only I had known how labor intensive that part was. Let's be honest, even if you knew, you would have done it anyway. You wouldn't be Phil if you did. Yeah, I would have structured things differently. When I know something is labor intensive, it's a bit like with rotoscoping, that is cutting out parts of an image. It's like, for example, when you have someone move in front of a background, you have to when you rotoscope them, at least as it is in visual effects terms, rotoscoping means, yeah, you cut out this person with a mask frame by frame, and the big parts, the interesting or intricate parts, are hair, transparencies, any sort of motion blur where the background is halfway transparent. So these things, with that I know, okay, if I have to roto like 1,000 frames, and yeah, the actor is jumping through something reflective, it's motion blur, the camera is moving, the actor is moving, everything is moving, I know, okay, this probably takes me a week. And with something with the Game Boy, I thought, you know what, I can do this in like 20 minutes and be done with it, and then I can use it. Yeah, it took longer than 20 minutes. Oh, by the way, if you're interested in how long certain tasks on this postmortem took me, I'm already started a draft for the next Patreon update. So the update is a long written one with little graphs of the breakdowns of the different tasks. So this one will be free, and but there's a poll in there for my patrons that they can vote on what big movie, big project I'm working on next, and that's only for patrons of a certain tier supporting me. But yeah, if you're interested in the a little bit more of the background, I'll be sure also to post it on the socials. Yes. And Lady Misliff says, and that's why your videos are so good. Thank you so much. Again, I like to go the extra 20 miles because yeah, if I know I could do something a little bit better than what's there, then I go for it. And the good thing is that I don't have pressure in terms of, okay, I will starve if I don't put this out on YouTube, and there's no pressure of someone will die if I don't put it out on deadline. So that's the good thing with entertainment things. In the end, no matter how much stress you make yourself, this is always what we also say at work. I mean, we're in a media company, so it's not like lives depend on us. Of course, schedules and other things and other companies depend on us, and of course it's super costly if you slip a deadline somewhere, and very uncomfortable down the line. But it's not like, really, it's not that important if a video gets released 1 week later, right? And so that's the good thing is also for my projects, I can take the time to do these kinds of things, and this gives me joy, and I'm glad to know that it also gives you joy when you can watch the results. An update for the update. Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's I mean, I'm at a position where I thought, should I do a making of a making of a making of a postmortem? Maybe yes, because it might be interesting. So yeah. And all the automated unicorn tries to whistle but fails. Same automated unicorn. And DC says, it's a funny image to think of you polishing the edit of the video of you polishing a game. Yeah, and what was the worst one? The making of the inspiration keynote, right? Because again, a making of to a keynote, no one's gonna be interested in this. But I really thought so many of these things that I did, I put in there, and even for myself, or especially for myself, I wanted to chronicle my entire process of doing a video like this. So essentially, yeah, it was meta making of in a sense. So, and I'm glad that people are still interested in this and watching it and clicking it and saying nice things about it. So thank you everyone for doing this. Alrighty then, I think I would say I'm almost complete here when it comes to the composition, because again here this small image, the thumbnail should work. The last thing that I want to do is now try here my different gradients out for it, since this has to live there next to the others on the website. And I realized it that I've been using here this golden gradient one, that was this one a lot. Here you can see the different gradients, so they kind of look similar, but always have this slight this brownish gray. I would like to say it's a dull brass color, and that I have in most of them in there. But this one here, it's everything is this cold and steely blue, and only the highlights are kind of yellow. And you know what? I think I want to go with this, because the last time I used it, I think this was just here for this Alhazred thing, and maybe for Skirmian Storm. So if it sorts up here on top as my latest release, I think this would look nice. Also gives it a bit of this space theming. Or, now that I'm thinking of it, because it's so abstract, I can use this gradient for the cube, and a different gradient there for the background. Because why not? It's my thing. I can call the shots. So if I have here the background, maybe this a little bit brownish, and here now it looks much more spacey in the center. You know what I think? Safe. I think I'm happy with this. Dark goldenrod. Yes, that could be the color. Let me check if it's the same hue, but I don't think it's the same hue as goldenrod. No, it's orange. So if I, by the way, yeah, other colorist nerdy talk. So while we're here, a color can be this, or a color can be that, or a color can be here, or a color can be anything, any combination of what is on the hue strip and on here. What actually is, when I say I want to keep, I'm checking for the hue. I'm not checking how light it is or how saturated it is. All I'm interested in is on what place here on this hue strip it is. So for example, this color down here and this color up here, they have the same hue, technically speaking. But of course, this one down here is much less saturated and darker than the one up here. So essentially what you're doing is, this is when I'm checking if something has the same hue but just appears differently, is most of the time is when it says, when the scope says or the numbers say, yeah, the hue is the same but it appears different, then it's because of the surrounding colors. Again, human brains and human visual cortex is just a nightmare, because everything is so dependent of what surrounding colors, of context, and so on and so forth. So and in painterly things, I think when you do something and you decrease the saturation, I think this is called a shade. So if when you have shades of a certain color, it means you add more gray. And there's also a different term, but I'm not quite sure. Again, this is different field because this is painterly talk. If you add more white to it. So again, if you add black to it, something, again, if you have a palette and you paint something and you add black, then of course it becomes less saturated and darker. And if you add white, it also becomes less saturated and brighter. But in a digital color or in projected color, in light sources, as every screen actually is, you can have something that is lighter but keeps the same saturation. So for example, if I'm here and I want to go lighter but with the same saturation, I would go in this direction here, for example, so in a diagonal. Again, the color picker in Photoshop is not scientifically or color scientifically correct, but yeah, this is just a little aside. So when I want to check if something is my goldenrod, my signature goldenrod color, this is what I do, because now that I double click and I see here, okay, my goldenrod color is around, I would say around here. So if you're interested in the hex is FFCB00. So okay, here it would be. So if I turn it down, you can see here there's a slight difference between these two hues. So my goldenrod now feels a little bit greener compared to the other that's a little bit redder. I'm not sure if this is very clear or visible here on the stream, but yeah, there's a, you cannot get here in this hue just with the shade to get to the same color. Anyway, long story short, I like how it looks. Safe. The downside of editing, yes, the downside of editing yourself from the future is that he was too busy going back to his own game jam to teach you how to edit the keynote more efficiently. That's the thing with future Phil. It's so hard to get a hold of him because he's always out of time or late somewhere. It's really, you have to be lucky that he has some minute left to procrastinate or something. / Game Boy background color. Okay, for the Game Boy background color. By the way, I think I have here even a set of swatches for different retro consoles. I'm not sure what the context was for / Game Boy color, but for example here for retro consoles, I have here different shades of the NES or of the KC-84-5 or the ZX Spectrum. So because I'm a retro nerd and sometimes I just like, okay, how could this image look like when I convert it to Windows 3.11 or something? So I'm not sure what I was going for, but it's always nice when I just can give something a more retro look. Lady Misleaf said that splash of color when you drag the layer down made me gasp. Oh yeah, that's as soon as you crank up the saturation, right? Jerem says, my art buddy once told me to try making a game all with one hue, and it taught me so much about color. Yeah, that is the monochromatic color contrast. Because there is no contrast, because you're only using one color. But yeah, then all you have to work with is value, right? With lightness and something in contrast and that sort of thing. Yeah, like I said, human visual perception. It's a wonderful, horrible thing. Color is hard. Indeed, this is, in short, what I meant to say. Yeah, color is hard. We can see it on the stream. Okay, good. So you could see the different colors. Luckily, you know Future Fill by now, so you can prepare. I always think I know Future Fill, and my question is, will I turn into Future Fill from one day to the next, or is it very gradual? Because my voice is already sounding a little bit raspy. Lady Misleaf said, I was not aware that the NES had a very strict color palette. I kinda want to play around with it. Yes, the cool thing about the now that I have here my swatches with the NES, yes, it has a strict color palette, but as you can see, it has lots of colors, relatively speaking. I thought the color palette of the NES was like, I don't know, 16 colors or maybe, let's say 30 colors, but it has much more colors than you would think, but of course you can only use like 4 at a time or 3 and a transparent color for sprites yeah, there are lots of limitations to it, but I think on the Wikipedia page, there's even a color palette table there for the NES. So this is where I got my colors from. And oh yeah, when you want something similar as the NES, but with a little bit more, that's more geared towards artistic expression, Shovel Knight here, this is the palette I found of Shovel Knight. When you compare it here with the NES, it has more yellow, different brown and yellow tones. With the NES, you had this was like 3 different yellow tones, or like 4, but one was very eggshell colored, and that was it. It's amazing. And also for retro lovers, the UFO 50 color scheme, they also tried to limit themselves to this color palette here. So again, it feels like these artificial constraints in comparison to the technical constraints, like we have here with the ZX Spectrum or the KC845. Yeah, the artistic ones, of course, they are much easier to work with, to get pleasing images out of than with these colors, or the EGA colors from MS-DOS. Like here, we have the EGA colors there. But again, that's really the charm, that you work with let's say an inconvenient palette and try to make something beautiful with it. Like my favorite to look at when it comes to EGA colors that still look pretty to this day is the EGA version of The Secret of Monkey Island and Loom especially, because it's kind of breathtaking how much you can do with just black and dark blue in EGA. Right. So, and the other thing with that, of course, is that I thought, you know what, maybe I should also make a lo-fi palette for myself. And let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, this Pixel Fill 24.2. This is my palette. I want to use it at some point for a pixely game. So essentially, this again is my version of Pico 8, just Pico Fill. And of course, it has here Goldenrod as the signature color in there. But yeah, colors aside, I like colors. There's a lot to talk about colors. Okay, Lady Misleaf has got to go too. Have a good stream. You're probably already gone, but bye-bye, Lady Misleaf. Thank you for dropping by. And what else have I missed there while I was yapping on about colors? Mr. Troy says, I know little to nothing about color. One hue. I'm happy to share my wisdom, my experience with colors with you. But with hue, oh dear, that was almost not deserving of this one. But yeah, colors. I thought, how much could there be to colors? Yeah, it's not a lake, it's an ocean. And Frank says, maybe Future Phil is from a parallel universe. That could be. That would explain those ridiculous pants. Or maybe, says Frank, he could be, and it depends on decisions yet to come. That is true. Maybe there's maybe someone forces me to dress differently. Mr. Troy said, this Swedge hardware I play around with has 6-bit colors. Every time I try and explain it to an artist, I realize I have no idea what I'm talking about. Oh dear. What are you trying to explain with 16-bit colors? Is it that the colors can only have 16-bit per channel or 16-bit overall? And YNC says, I need to head to work. Thank you, or you're probably already gone and at work. So thank you, YNC. If you watch this as a VOD, thank you for dropping by. I hope you arrived at work well, and thank you for chatting. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, thank you for dropping by. Lady Mistleaf also said, I have to go. Frank said, see you later, YNC and Lady Mistleaf. And the CGA cyan and magenta palette is the best, says Frank. And you know what? Yeah, the CGA, that's, for those who don't know, the CGA palette of the color graphics adapter, I mean, most of you should know it, but CGA colors is infamous for being just super, super ugly. And I think here this is from the, is it from the 8-bit guy or something? So yeah, CGA had, of course, 16 colors, like with the EGA colors that we know nowadays, but you could use the EGA colors, the 16 DOS colors, as we know and love them, only for text display. If you wanted to do anything with graphics display, CGA could only use 4 colors, and one of them was always black. So, and the 4 colors are here on screen, and the most infamous color palette is here, the first one, the black, cyan, magenta, and I think white, but sometimes it was not white, but a light gray. I mean, here you have this diminished palette, and there of course is the alternative palette. So yeah, sometimes when games were ported to DOS, especially when they were colorful Amiga games, and when they had to meet or when you could select CGA colors, you know, you were in for a treat, because many ports were just horrible looking in CGA. But then there was recently a DOS game jam last year, and there is someone who was always making CGA games, and they looked good. Because they were using the alternative palette for something, and even when they're using the other palette, you have to essentially, just to make this work, you have to plan your setting around it. And what actually works very well with this palette is because let me quickly draw you something. Because I already tried this myself, and because I wanted to know what is possible with the CGA palette, and it's ice caves, because when it's night and dark and in an ice cave, and you have 0FF, this cyan color. So let's make here a quick ice cave. So here's some. Let's make this a platformer. So suddenly you have, probably, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this here with a super soft brush. let's use the good old pencil tool. So doesn't look much better, but I think you can get what I'm saying. So, and of course, if you want to have something that looks like it's a little bit more reflective, you can use the white for certain highlights or something. This works. And when you want to show certain pickups or special items, then you can use the good old super bright magenta. Let's make this here, I don't know, some sort of diamond shape. So this is what I tried, and I mean, this is pretty crude now, but the idea is to work with lots of negative space. One thing that also works with CGA is when you try to pass it off as a different directions of colored light. So for example, let's say we have here a rock face or a rock part here closing off the level here from the top. So and you say everything that looks or is facing into the left direction gets its light or is being lit with this blue light source, and there on the other side it's being lit with a magenta colored light source. And suddenly when I zoom out a little, I mean, yeah, it's pretty crude, but I think you know what I mean. And if you do this for everything in your level, that, for example, if you also have here, let's say, I don't know, a typical Mario pipe or something. This is not very pretty. But yeah, if you just follow this, and if it's done in the entire level, it kind of works. So again, this was a little bit a little epiphany for me when I was trying this out, doodling in the cafe, that even with CGA colors, I think if you're creative with them and also the setting works, you can make it work. So yeah, this is a little aside. Right. What have I missed? CGA in magenta palette is the best. Lady Misleaf said to Mr. Troy, anything I know about color I learned from Phil. Oh, thank you, except for some color names that I was obsessed with since childhood. Don't mix up sky blue, royal blue, and peacock blue. Fun fact, sometimes people ask me, hey, you're a colorist, what is the difference between mauve and I don't know, purple? And my answer is, I don't know the color names. I know where the numbers of the colors. I don't know the numbers of the colors, but it explains it, because color names, it feels like every profession has different color names. If you're in the printing business, everything is a Pantone color. If you're in the camera business, everything has a gel filter number. If you're doing, I don't know, interior design, everything has this beautiful, I don't know, a plum white, whatever this is. Or if you're shopping for, I don't know, makeup or any beauty products, it's like Resort Fling Red or something. It's like, what? So essentially everyone can make up their own colors. And it's kind of funny, because sometimes I feel like people obsess over certain colors when they go, no, this is crimson red and not Ferrari red, or what is this is too tomato to be a true crimson. And I feel like, yeah, who cares? What does it look like on the scopes? Right, so Lady Misleaf said probably long ago, see, the current events are causing harm to the environment. Because of this, clothes are harder to make, so Futurefield decided to wear gold because it is the most malleable and comfortable metal. You know what? I think you just started a background lore for Futurefield. You know what? It could kind of work. It could kind of work. I love this. Maybe I should start a wiki now. Mr. Troy said, like, 32-bit color palette has 255, and so on for RGB. 16-bit has like weird, like, okay, 565 or something weird. I can't explain it because I don't understand it myself. Just know it can't be right. FFF41. Yeah, I vaguely remember this also from some retro hardware. Yeah, the good thing is, yeah, when you have a technical background, it's a little bit easier. But that's the thing. The only thing that you can work with is give your artist, if you can, a palette and say you can only use these colors. I don't care what their RGB or hex values are. It's these colors, but yeah, knock yourself out with, because otherwise, yeah, I've also had this where someone said, yeah, an artist friend, they want me to draw pixel art, and they said it's like a mosaic, and I made them a mosaic, and they weren't not happy with it. And then I saw it, and of course it's like, if you have pixels, you cannot rotate them or arrange them in like little arcs or something, which of course when you do a mosaic, that's a little bit different. So yeah, I think what is my point? I don't know that I had a point. My point is, it's super hard when you're an artist to work with technical constraints. But once you figured it out, then it's like with us programming nerds. You have this very rigid system, and it doesn't allow any outliers, but still somehow, because you're very creative with your code, without breaking any rules of the system, you can beat it into a certain direction where you want it to go. And with art, it's the same thing. The Automated Unicorn started something on a Commodore 64. Okay, Lady Misleaf is leaving for real now. You're probably gone. Bye-bye, Lady Misleaf. And Frank says, actually, you can do a beam racing with CGA and change the palette in the horizontal via a refresh interval. Yes, I mean, all these kinds of hacks. This is, now we're talking about the PC demo scene where you can, yes, absolutely, you can do things like this with the CGA. It's amazing what I've seen recordings of what you could do with a PC Junior from the early 80s, and it looks like, I don't know, some Commodore style graphics and colors, and it's amazing. So yes, technically you can of course do much more. It can definitely work, yes. And mauve is easy, says Frank. That was the first synthetic pigment from the modern chemical age. Really? Learned something again. Oh, I have a book about that, creatively titled Mauve. Okay, can you please post the link to this book, because now I'm interested. Really, the first synthetic pigment from the modern chemical age. Frank says it started out as a failure, of course. William Perkins, who first made mauveine, interesting, was trying to synthesize quinine at the time. The classic, right? When you... the classic alchemical mistake. I want to make lead into gold, and all I found was a cure for the plague. Mr. Troy says, okay, that 216 color palette for web colors. Oh, that one. That's what I was told to tell the artist to use to be safe, but I want people to have access to the full spectrum. I want to give artists a playground. This is so commendable of you. But yeah, the web colors. Oh dear, the good old web colors. I know which ones you mean, because I think even in Photoshop, this little preview here, this one says, I think this is for web colors. So then this is the closest web color that you can find. And here it says, yeah, you cannot reproduce this here in the web color because this is out of gamut on this part. Again, I'm not sure why this is still in there, but it is. And I mean, of course, when you give artists, you want to give artists all the possibilities in the world. But then again, counterpoint, limitation breeds creation or creativity. Because that, at least from the people who worked on the Monkey Island games, because I think it was Mark Ferrari, who also started out as a classical trained painter and artist, and then he went to pixel art, and he said, who chose those 16 colors where there's not even a proper, I don't know, orange that you could use to shade things. But of course, in the end, somehow they made it work. But of course, would they have had all the colors in the world? For example, the Monkey Island 1. I personally prefer the 16 color version, the EGA version, over the VGA version, which has 256 colors, which still is a little bit less than what we have nowadays, but still it feels like it lost something. And the same thing for Loom. I think there is even a VGA version for Loom. So if that helps, I would say, yeah, if you can tell the artist, just stick to these colors, you will make it work. I trust you. You're the artist. Somehow you can make this work. So for those who don't know, just looking at this here on the top row, those are all just the EGA colors, the 16 EGA colors. And again, when you know what you're doing, I mean, just look at this. Doesn't this look gorgeous? Or where's my favorite? Is this here? This is not my favorite, but this again looks pretty neat. And all it's like got like 3 shades of blue, and I think they chose blue because they had the most shades to work with in EGA. But if you make this smaller, it looks very clean and very legible. Or here in red, is this already? Yeah, this is already well dithered. And then of course you have this swan here, and I mean you have 2 shades of red. But it really works like it looks like a somewhat orangish beak. So overall, again, it's from the limitations that I feel this looks more interesting. Here, this is this Loom EGA and VGA comparison, and I think this is what I've looked at. So yeah, this one here is my favorite, this panorama here. So when I hover over it, it goes into the VGA remaster, and it still looks good, but it loses something, right? I feel, compared to the EGA. And again, it's 16 colors, and through dithering, they somehow made here this cascade of mountain shapes there in the background, or where it feels like the trees glow from below. Again, also very, very pretty, and interesting how much it loses here with VGA. Anyway, rant over. Just thought it was interesting that limitations are maybe what we remember it for. Now, thank you for redeeming Hydrate. Because Hex 2.0 has a nice color. Frank says, well, the reverse. Quinine was and is used to cure malaria, which sometimes might as well be the plague, or might well be the plague. There we go. Reading comprehension. And instead of curing that, he could make a nice looking clothes. Yeah, okay. That's the other thing. I mean, when you set out to do something like this, let's cure malaria. Well, all we got is nice looking clothes. Oh, look, there's money in that, apparently. So, oh, gamut is a fun word, says Venereal Disease. Yeah, it's even more fun when you try to explain it to people. It's like what your TV can show you. When I say the red is out of gamut, and they say, what does this mean? And I say, yeah, your TV is not capable of reproducing this color. And they say, but I see it. It's clearly there. And I say, yeah, it should be redder, but how redder? This is, yeah, gamut. Oh, thank you for finding it, Frank. The book Mauve by Simon Garfield. Oh, this is a pretty color. You know what? I would have called the book purple. Thank you for sharing this. So maybe I have something on my reading list again. I love nerdy subjects. Jerem says, Loom EGA to VGA reminds me of median cut dithering instead of octree. Okay, I have to look this up now, because with dithering algorithms, once past Atkinson or Bayer, I'm out. So I take your word for it, Jerem. But if you have a link to a picture explaining it for the 4-year-olds among us, hello, this would be very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Gamut is what your dad says when he stubs his dog. Gamut! God gamut! Oh dear. Frank says, it's been a while since I read it, but I do remember enjoying the book and finding it interesting. That's good enough for me. By the way, since I have your nerds' attention, I always have them. Thank you so much. Your attention. It's not a plural. I've already have on multiple occasions recommended fillfree.net to you. Of course, you have to type it correctly. Fillfree.net. Because it's pronounced or written like FILFRE.net. There we go. And this is the blog of the Digital Antiquarian about everything with the history of making games. But, this is at least not that new anymore, but newer than this blog is where he says, this week on the Analog Antiquarian. So he calls himself the Digital Antiquarian, but he also has his website, the Analog Antiquarian, and where every other week he adds another chapter on something that he's working on. And there are multiple books now out, and I find them fascinating to read. For example, here we have the Sistine Chapel, or the Great Wall of China, or the Colossus of Rhodes. So Library and Lighthouse of Alexandria. And my favorite was the Pyramids of Giza. I like this very much. And the Odyssey of Magellan. This one was riveting to read because I didn't quite know much about Magellan. I mean, all that I've heard, of course, about it in school, but I didn't really knew what exactly how the vagaries of this entire circumnavigation of the world actually looked like. And this was like every 2 weeks I had a new episode to read about this. So yeah, and those books are all out. I mean, you can read it here for free on the blog, or if you want to wait. Right now he's doing the theory of heliocentrism. So again, super well written and well researched. So I enjoy I enjoy reading his writing style very much. So yeah, analog-antiquarian.net. Let me paste it here. And 16 and Sistine. Oh yeah, Frank prefers the 17 Chapel. Fair enough, Frank. Fair enough. And Jaron posted, I could demonstrate with PaintNet quickly. It's like if you save an image plus, I didn't mean to press enter. Oh, there we go. Paint.net, but it says paint your home interior. This is clearly not a website, and so I clicked it. Okay, maybe I should make a picture and post it on to Imgur. Yeah, if this helps, please. I mean, it would help me. But if you are up for it, please do. Then I can share it. And if you have anything to add, please do. DC says, I've been looking for something like this, actually. You mean the Analog Antiquarian? So hopefully, yes, hopefully you find something there. Because, I mean, you can just browse, read, or just read the first or second chapter of something on the web and then see if you like how it's written and the style of everything. But like I said, overall, it's again, it was a fun read for me. And Mr. Troy, I posted what I was trying to say earlier in the Discord. Let me find the Discord. This is how the kids say. I posted something in the Discord. Is it like the Netflix? Clickety clack. Where do we have it? Is it in whatever? Or in game dev? They're in game dev. Okay. Oh, high color. High color. There we go. Yes, I remember high color. There we go. Okay, is a graphics method of storing image information in a computer's memory, such as each pixel is represented. Okay, is by all 16 bits, but some devices also support 15-bit high color. Yeah, 15 and 16-bit high color. I've heard of this. Yeah, the high color. The funny thing about high color was that I thought it when first I went from Windows from the 16 colors to high color. I thought, okay, we will never have more colors than this because this looks absolutely amazing and beautiful. And again, yeah, it's not that many colors in the end nowadays. I mean, even true color sometimes is, when you're doing graphics work, is not enough. But yeah, okay, thank you for sharing this. So there is no need for a color lookup table when in high color mode because there are enough available colors per pixel to represent graphics and photos reasonably satisfactory. To me, it was like, yeah, we're done. Graphics won't get any better. Screens won't get any bigger. This is 1996. I'm living the dream. Okay, however, the lack of precision decreases image fidelity as a result. Some image formats like TIFFs can save paletted 16-bit images with an embedded color lookup table. Okay. Limiting that to 216 feels criminal. Oh, yes. Definitely. But I mean, in the end, like I said, it's the limitations. And with a good artist who really sets their mind to it or wants to experiment with the form, again, it's like with CGA. It's no matter what you got, you can make something beautiful with it. And as again for me in enjoying the EGA versions of Monkey Island and Loom better than the VGA versions, I mean, it even has the potential to stand the test of time. Okay, what is the bleeding edge of color nowadays, says Venereal Disease? Good question, actually, and I think it has to do with HDR rendition. Because the thing with colors is nowadays we have all the colors that we want in our 16 or 24 bits per image, but is it actually enough to have 8 pixel or 8 bits per image per 8 bits per image? 8 bits per pixel or per channel, because when you can see here, this is 16 bits per channel. Because I'm always working in 16-bit, and only when I'm saving the final output, I'm working in 8-bit. When you're doing stuff with video and also color grading, because when you have like a handy cam, like this old camcorders, for example, and even old TV cameras, like up well into the mid 2000s, they were shooting in 8-bit already transformed to the screen. So they were using the same color transformation than the final screen as you would see it. This was all nice and well for TV and SD. The downside of this was you had very low dynamic range. So something when it was dark, it was either noisy or already so black that you couldn't see anything, or there was no definition left anymore. Same thing on the other end with light. If it was too bright, even if it's an overcast sky, but you have your iris all the way up, it's gone. There's nothing there left. And so there started new color encoding schemes, and this was the logarithmic way of color encoding. And this is sometimes what you see with before and after, is when they show you this log image versus Rec 709. 709 is just the name of a standard. So maybe you have seen this somewhere, where it's all washed out and it looks like something's wrong with your television or screen, where it feels like, yeah, this is recorded in log. So essentially, instead of saying, okay, I'm storing a pixel that is bright and uses the same, let's say, bandwidth as a pixel that is dark. Instead, we try, because the camera can record a bigger dynamic range from dark to light than what the display actually can display. Hence the name display. Anyway, so instead of encoding everything linearly, we use a gamma curve or a logarithmic curve. This is why it's called log. There are different flavors out of it, but essentially this means when you display it untransformed, it looks like washed out and lacking in saturation and contrast. But here comes the next interesting part. We're not saving at 8 bits per channel, but we're sometimes saving 10, 12, sometimes even 16. So we have more, when essentially when you stretch it out again and increase the contrast and the saturation, you do not have these banding artifacts as we've seen before, because you have the definition still in there. And this makes it possible to cram more color information. Of course, when you have a bigger bit depth, you can cram more color information, more color dynamic into these things. So in the end, this is how it looks like when it's transformed to Rec 709. Rec 709 is essentially just the lowest common denominator. This is your TV screen, your image as you would see it on your browser or something. This is called Rec 709 because it's recommendation 709. Nowadays with HDR, things have changed a little bit, because suddenly you don't have this, the lowest, the darkest pixel is 0 and the brightest pixel is encoded as 1, and it has this like certain number of dynamic range. But with HDR, the dynamic range can be much bigger than what your TV could display before. So essentially it means, yeah, the cameras have been recording this kind of dynamic range already, but of course now instead of using it, okay, we can, the image was incorrectly exposed, we can go a little bit brighter or a little bit darker in color correction, and it's all good because the information is now still there because it's so flat in the encoding. With HDR, it becomes what you see is what you get again. So if the camera recorded something that was slightly overexposed, then even in HDR, it's going to be overexposed. When you try to bring it down, people can see, yeah, there is definition missing. Of course, you try to cheat your way around it, but this is currently the standard is, okay, how can we have cameras that pack even more dynamic range in there at higher resolution and higher frame rate, and then also be able to process this. And then the next thing is, of course, things like the Apple Vision Pro, which is really a big thing because just of the amount of data that you have to put through there to have a production worthy of this. So this is the current state of color, is more of everything, please. Okay, I hope this was not too too ranty. Right, Mr. Troy said we got to F with and alpha. Yeah, that's the thing. You get even more definition and bits per channel. I meant to say RGB and alpha and got excited. Frank says, oh, I just noticed from the same author as Morph, maybe ideal for you. Oh, really? That's from the same, just my type, because this has been sitting on my wish list for quite a while now. Yes, about typography. And so thank you, Frank, for reminding me. Yes, that's very good. So RGBA and illumination, not quite, because with I mean, RGBA is you got the channels for red, green, blue, and alpha. In TV, channels are stored differently. I mean, you can also encode them as RGBA, but they're stored as luminance and two color difference signals. It's called YUV. So the Y is the luminance. The reason for that being that they separated the three channels is that when first color televisions were introduced, that the image that you would broadcast was still backwards compatible for black and white screens. So the black and white screens would only display the first channel, and the color TVs could use the color difference channels. So, and we still have those. And so the brightness essentially gets encoded in this luminance channel because, I mean, you know what? I can show you how this looks like. So if I flatten everything here and convert it to, or do I have it from RGB to LAB, it's pretty much the same for our purpose. So this is also luminance, and so in this case lightness and A and B channel. And you can see this is the black and white image. And when I just add the A channel, we don't see much, but the B channel is, okay, is this, on one hand, is this orange or not orange, it's like a brownish yellow, or is this blue? And when it's neither, it sits right in the middle. And the other thing is this aqua greenish, or is this very magenta, or if it's neither? And then if it's neither, it sits also in the middle. So if in a black and white image, for example, would have here A and B as completely gray. So yeah, the lightness essentially is, or the brightness is essentially encoded in the lightness. But this RGB or this the HDR essentially comes just from the encoding as a logarithmic curve. So I will try now again to simulate this here, just real quick. So we have here our curves, and when I were to encode this now as log, for example, I would use some curve like this, or depending on what kind of curve you want, it looks a little bit different. So the idea is that humans are more attuned to differences in lighting when there is very little light. So when something is very dark, you see much easier the differences between these dark things. And when something gets super light or very light, you hardly see the difference when something, I mean, is of, let's say, 1,000 nits and 1,200 nits. You really don't see this. So this is the reason why the distribution of data points is set in a way that is, in a sense, logarithmically, so that you have more data points for things where actually the most interesting part of images are. You have more bandwidth, or you use the bandwidth, like 50% of what you encode is there, and the other 50% is for everything that is from bright to very, very bright. And currently this is, for those who are interested, that is the PQ curve, the perceptual quantizer curve. And this is how our HDR essentially is, the brightness is encoded there. My God, I went way technical now. So I hope you could follow a little bit, and sorry for the confusion of this impromptu presentation. So sorry. Frank says, it being the lowest common denominator, I'd bet it's sometimes called Rec 709. I have not heard this yet, but it kinda is. Yeah, Rec 709 again is what your screens can display. Well, if you're on a Mac, you got this P3 screen, and P3 is a bigger gamut than Rec 709. Yeah, gamut, I think we've had this before. So again, this is how saturated and how bright a color can appear. And we got this wonderful horseshoe diagram, apparently here in French. So let me just real quickly. Oh, okay, this is not usable. Photo RGB, Adobe RGB, column edge RGB. Yeah, this is not useful. Gamut, Wikipedia 709. Let's see if there's Rec 709 on there. And Rec 2020, you might have heard of this, and P3. Yes, here we go. There is something that we can look. Yeah, this is the SDR gamma curve and the hybrid log gamma curve. Yeah, this is my daily bread and butter, these kinds of things. So here, that's the interesting part. So this horseshoe diagram here, this represents all the visible spectrum. Why is it a horseshoe and not a line like you would usually display a spectrum? Because the thing is, things like purple and reddish, so everything here between blue and red does not exist as a color or as a pure light color. So this is a mix of these two colors, and to visualize this is why it's called a horseshoe. And in this horseshoe, there are usually here these triangles, and these are the gamuts. This is how you display a gamut. So the bluest a certain gamut can reproduce in terms of brightness and saturation here is this dot. The most green it can reproduce is here. And in the middle here in this case is D65. This is the white point where all colors mix into a perfect white. And as you can see, this is always a little bit lopsided because physics and especially human perception and so on. So the point is here, Rec 709, this is the current standard, and now there is this new standard Rec 2020. From what you can see here, it still is not able to encode the entirety of the visible spectrum there is, but it's much larger than Rec 709. Again, to you, those are just two rectangles, but essentially it means here in terms of gamut, bigger rectangle, better. So the more it encompasses, the better. Then there is a gamut that is like ACES AP0 that is even greater than the visible spectrum. So it goes outside just to be able to fit the entire horseshoe in. It goes outside. The downside of this is, of course, you got lots of data points that you cannot use because they lie outside the visible spectrum. So again, this is color science and encoding science and so on and so forth. Yeah, so again, the point is also with color gamut. And Rec 709 is, in the end, Rec 709 is the standard. I mean, we're lucky that we don't have to make sure that everything looks still good on a black and white monitor, but always is the lowest common denominator is Windows 95, so to speak. Jerem has uploaded the image to Imgur, and I clicked it and it showed me the magic there of the internet. So apparently, I don't understand this beyond. This is what my art program can do if I wanted to export things below 24-bit. I will try now to copy just the link name, but it always defaults me here back because it says the requested page cannot be found. Maybe you've uploaded it again. Yeah, sorry, this one. There we go. Okay. DC says, this is really interesting actually. I feel like I'm always in my technology bubble, so it's nice to hear about what else. Same. Frank says, RGBA is the old version of the spec. You should easily be RGBB by now, although ideally you should be preparing for RGBC, which will become the current very soon. Yeah, they just keep increasing the letters. Okay, so this fella I know, so 32-bit, so I would assume this is 8-bit per channel and not 32-bit per channel. So this is 4-bit, so okay, this dithering here looks like an Atkinson dither to me, frankly speaking. And 4-bit octree. So, okay, the dithering looks different on this one. So, could this be a dithering algorithm then? When it says here it's median cut and an octree. Oh yeah, I'm talking about dithering. That's a good point, because I recently downloaded here this wonderful thing that is called Ditherista, and you can find it on itch.io. And when I load it and it shows up here, you can dither an image. Let's take a screenshot of this naive looking fellow. Yeah, this is not the best portrait, but still. And you can see here, there you can select the different, or probably I should zoom it at something more sensible that you can also see it. So let's see if I can find here an octree or something. Maybe this is here in color. Bayer clustered dot magic non-rectangular Olichny white point. Okay, so octree must be something with the implementation of the algorithm. So I don't know, man. Because Knuth, Atkinson, Burks, yeah, the Atkinson dither, this one. It has these telltale signs there of the dot distribution there, so that it it looks a little bit like the lines become a bit wavy sometimes, as you can see here. So yeah, Ditherista, it has all, I would assume, all the dithering algorithms in case you need them. Right, Frank, Mr. Troy says, I love this stream, I can actually learn it. Okay, good that you can learn something from my unstructured ramblings. And Frank says, I try to avoid that at times with some careful trolling every now and then. You always put me back. Thank you, Frank. I'd say it's a windsurfing sail more than a horseshoe. Yeah, it's in color grading circles, it's still the horseshoe, but yes, I've heard it the fin. Someone called it the fin, and for the longest time I didn't know what this person was going on about. Yeah, the distribution is different on the fin, and this is the curve, the white point curve on the fin, and I thought, what is the fin? Till I realized, yeah, they're talking about the horseshoe. Fun fact, by the way, this horseshoe diagram that I've shown you, there also is a revision from the 70s that is meant to resemble closer or make the data points a little bit neater or something. And so sometimes you see where people mix these different diagrams, and of course they just overlay from one diagram it on the other and say, look, it's much bigger, but yeah, it's a different diagram, man. You cannot, this is not comparable. It's like having I don't know, different projections of a sphere, and you try to say, yeah, but Greenland looks bigger in this projection than in that, or you even worse, you say, okay, you know what, I will invade Greenland because it looks so big on this, I don't know, Mercator projection than to the other one. And this is, yeah, sometimes happens. Frank says, and surely unicorn shoe. Of course, it's not a horseshoe, it's a unicorn shoe. DC says, have you heard of Oki Lab? I've heard about it when it first came out, but I don't have my finger on the color pulse. Oak Lab. Oh yes, this one. Yeah, I've heard about it. This is the one size fits all color space. I haven't heard. I mean, I have heard of it, but I haven't come across it in the software that I'm using, because to me it's always very practical. So if there is something going on in the color science circles, to me it's only okay, it's now in my software and now I can use it, and it's better at encoding XY or something. But yeah, I've heard about it, don't know much about it, but thank you for sharing it again. Okay, bigger, better, says Bugatti. Yeah, that's color. Frank says, of course, that image is entirely useless because my screen can show the difference between Rec 709, Rec 2020 and the entire range. Those just look the same. That is exactly the thing. When you... okay. Rec 2020, like I said, this is the biggest color space currently. That is also the standard for HDR for HLG HDR. Yeah, never mind. So essentially it's meant, yeah, this surpasses Rec 709. The downside is the color space is theoretically much bigger than what the displays can currently display. So there is no display technology out there that can encompass or can render Rec 2020 color space completely. What this means is you cannot really calibrate your monitor for it, because the red is much redder than your screen can go to, and also when you do it with the color probe says, yeah, it should be redder there. So of course this is more not really practical considerations, but of course when you want really to calibrate a screen, you have to be very thorough and you have to be super close and correct. So this is why it takes 2 hours to actually calibrate a screen properly. So, and like I said, the downside is you cannot calibrate a Rec 2020 screen where you can say, okay, this is now 99.98% error free. You can always say, yeah, as closely as the screen itself can display Rec 2020. So this is why there is still another color space that we as colorists prefer to work in, also for Rec 709, and that color space is, make people know it, is the P3 color space. This is actually a cinematic color space, so it's bigger than Rec 709. It's not as big as Rec 2020, but it's I would say in practical terms good enough or big enough for pretty much anything. Let's say P3 color space, DCI P3, that's the thing. There we have our beautiful horseshoe again. So yeah, we can see here, so the smallest triangle here inside, that is sRGB. And P3 now is here, this light green one, and the purple one here, the pink one, is Rec 2020. So you can see here, it pretty much sits between Rec 709 and Rec 2020. And the good thing is, many monitors nowadays, especially at a certain price point, they can render P3, the P3 color space, to 100%. Hence, you can calibrate for it. So this is why, yeah, another technicality that's probably not interesting to any of you, but this is why, for example, when you deliver to Netflix, the standard for HDR says it has to be in a Rec 2020 color space. But Netflix says, yeah, we want it to be graded in P3, but in a Rec 2020 container. So again, it's like, yeah, we know we cannot prove this, that it's correct, so please limit yourself to the smaller color space, but put it inside a bigger one. It's like if you have a suitcase and all you pack is a matchbox, for example. Anyway, okay, right, the second link, yes, 100%. Oh, that's a sick program, the Ditherista. And lol to something that I said, and the nodding, the furiously nodding to something. And P. Gorley is also here with another emote. It's erect desire. Oh dear. So yeah, this was a small excursion into, yeah, this is why I said there's a new graphic of this. This is a CIE 1931 chromaticity diagram, and it's called 1939 because this is actually the year that this was invented, and we've been using it right up to the 70s. And as you can see, still nowadays, this way of representing gamut is still very common. I think there's a CA 1970. What was it? 73? No, 74. Okay, I'm floundering now. The color space, let's go 1970s, 76. There we go. I was not that far away. And see, so this also looks like a fin or a sail, but it's has here a little bit less of the green and more of the other colors, especially here with blue, because blue usually gets in the old CI diagram gets a little bit squashed together. So this again tries to be a bit more uniform. Again, it's the same thing with unwrapping an orange and trying to put it onto a square paper. It's the same thing here with colors. You cannot really fit it into this grid, so this is the closest that we get. 95 years now, yes, with colors. Apparently they have figured it out pretty much in the 30s. I think this was even in France somewhere. And essentially, I haven't read entirely the paper how this diagram went, but essentially it, to a certain point, it was like, hey, look at this color, or look at these two colors. Do you see a difference? And they did this with like 1,000 people or something. And this is how they drew, okay, this is the range of human color perception. I think this was how this got started. And I talked about the PQ curve, the perceptual quantizer curve. Again, it's how bright something feels. And again, this was done on just human research, where it said, okay, does this look brighter or less bright to you? And this is how they figured out that, yeah, the human visual system on average sees much better changes in brightness or in definition or pretty much anything when it's darker than when it's very bright. Again, this is why this perceptual quantizer curve is called perceptual. There we go. So this is the curve, because you want your most information down here. And as soon as something gets super bright, again, if you look into a headlight of a car and you look into a headlight or into the direct sunlight, it's both very bright. I mean, one of course is much brighter, but it's not like, yeah, you need like let's say 100,000 steps in between, because it's just very bright, and this should be enough. So this is why, again, the trade-off is, okay, where we have this amount of data that we can stick into this container, how do we distribute what the camera records? Essentially, this is what it comes down to. Frank says, I can see how trying to use a color space that's much wider than what you can actually see can lead to headaches. Again, yeah, it's like when mathematicians do something in the, I don't know, in the 20th dimension and then something works out. You could easily have something in an extreme part of the space without noticing, and suddenly 15 years from now, when screens are better, poof, massive artifacts. Exactly, that's the thing. This is actually a practical concern. Is the screen that I'm watching or viewing right now is HDR. But what does HDR mean when you have an HDR screen? There is lots of marketing going on, but essentially it's in the end it's nits is the value that is I think brightness candela per centimeter or something. Nit is a unit of luminance, is candela per square meter. Candela, a wonderful American system. So anyway, it's usually it's being said that the traditional televisions had a nit range from 0 to 100, and the HDR standard goes from nits 0 nits to 10,000, which sounds like a lot, but again, it's a logarithmic curve. So the step from 1,000 to 10,000 is not like 10 times; it's just like double, I think. So the where did I start with? Oh yeah, 15 years from now. And so when my monitor can display up to 500 nits, but of course the standard, the mastering standard currently for Netflix is 1,000 nits. So when I grade on this screen, I know that okay, up until 500 nits I'm good, but once I'm done with the grading, I have to lower the brightness so that I can see where actually it overshoots. So this is the only way we can say, we can prove something that is out of gamut. You decrease the overall saturation and then things slide back into the view. It's like if you have a projection that is too large for your screen, and then you move the projector back so it's not as bright anymore, but suddenly everything fits now on your screen, so then you can work with. I hope that this analogy somehow makes sense, but yeah. Kersey says, so complicated, we could have just stuck with Roy G. Biv. that is colors. When I started with color grading, I thought, how hard can this be? It's video, it's colors. What is there to it? And from just talking, with you, you can. This was again just the tip of the iceberg of all the technical and color encoding and color space. And this comes especially handy. This entire background is when you troubleshoot for problems, because do you have to know all this when you want to be a colorist? No, you don't. But as soon as you have certain kind of problems and you cannot figure out why something is happening, then you have to peel back the layers. Okay, this is a technical problem, or this is a camera problem, or this is a codec problem. And if you have knowledge, or at least rough idea of how all these things work together and where certain things happen, then you can figure out where an error or an issue takes place and can essentially take it out. Otherwise, it's more or less just, okay, yeah, I have a broken leg. Yeah, all I can do is bandage it, but can't look into what I can do that the bones heal up again. Right. Someone needs some logs, says Frank. Indeed, and I have to have some water. And Frank says, I guess you could also run some analysis on it that tells you if you have a pixel somewhere in a color that's outside of what you expect. Yes, this is already a standard in pretty much any color grading software, is out of gamut colors. So on the scopes that I have at work, it's a little box. Essentially, it's like a computer that just displays certain scopes. For example, like the vector scope. I think I've shown you this. So essentially, here we have a video signal on the vector scope. So essentially, it just plots out, okay, how saturated is something and where is the hue on the clock. The other thing is the waveform monitor, which tells me, okay, how bright something is. Again, here is the video color bars here on a waveform monitor. So, and they always have a setting where it says, okay, here, this color is out of gamut. This is, you can, the software can encode this because the theoretical color space that I'm working in the software is much, much bigger than the output. Of course, this makes sense. It's like and because of that, it's easy to have something that is out of gamut. So there are multiple things in place where it can dial in certain things or automatically cut things off that are out of gamut. This is maybe some of you have heard of this when it said, yeah, is this broadcast safe? This is what this meant. Is it safe to be broadcast? Because this also comes back to the old ways when things were done electrically and less digitally or electronically. This is when you had this huge transceiver in your broadcasting station that broadcast that put a current in. You put I don't know how many thousand volts in, and it drove the transceiver that said send it over the air, the television image. So the reason for this is that it had to be broadcast safe is when you were out of gamut for too long. For example, if something was too saturated and too red, on one hand, there would be crosstalk between the audio channel and the color channel. So if there was a very bright color, then suddenly the audio would hum or make weird little glitches like when it was all red. And the other thing is that was much bigger problem was if it was too strong and too out of gamut, then it would overheat the transmitter, or at least these are the stories that I've heard, and you could blow out a TV transmitter just because the color was too saturated or too bright. And so I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it still heard people say, yeah, but can you deliver broadcast safe? And we say, yeah, you planning to put this over terrestrial broadcast network analog? And they say, probably not, but this is what the TV station asks us for, that we deliver. So it's still a thing. Yeah. It's of course likely that anything I can come up with here is either not useful or standard practice. That is the thing when you're outside of a field. Sometimes you uncover blind spots in that field. I mean, the chances are very slim, depending on the field, but sometimes it takes an outsider to ask a dumb or silly question, and it's like, yeah, no one ever has thought of this, and oh god, we really should do something in that. I've heard this from someone in security or something. It's like when you build the most secure door and the best locks, and then you put it in a mesh wire fence, this door, and it feels like with some regards also with color grading or so, if it's always good to have an outside perspective when people say, but why are you doing this that way? I mean, like I said, in 99% chance there's a good reason that this is there, but it's always good to have interesting also to have the perspective of an outsider of the field, just asking questions. Right. So I'm way past my screen time, so I will try to wrap this up. But overall, I mean, I'm very happy with the result here. I wanted to put this on the website and put it as an image into the final MP3. Well, it's not an MP3, it's a FLAC, but still, and then upload it to the web page. But I will do this later, or probably tomorrow or something. Yeah, we will see when I get to it, because I wanted to share the final page with you on stream. But yeah, it's getting too late for this. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I tend to get carried away. But if you're interested in it, I will post it on the socials when it's ready. And if you go to sefcarissa.com, this is where you can find my music. It's typed like this. It's SEPH. You know this. If you know me, you probably know this. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it looks, and I think it will fit in here very nicely with all the others. Maybe I should also upload the other nitride. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting carried away. Frank says, has Sef Carissa ever met Future Phil? You know what? That is the question. Sef is a very reclusive person. Maybe if they met, Sef didn't tell me yet. If he ever talks to me, that is. But this, you know what? This is really something for the speculation or the discussion page on the Pixel Prophecy wiki on the characters. This is something, yeah, that hasn't been hinted at in the lore, but is also not completely out of question. So maybe someday we will learn. Future Phil was going to tell you, but he got this, yeah, as always. It always amazes me how someone time traveling can always be late for anything. And my feeling is daylight savings. This is the only explanation. Confused about daylight savings. Jerem says, Seth, Future Phil, and Pixel Prophecy walk into a bar. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder which bar. Probably the Progress Bar. I'm very, very sorry for this bad joke. I'm probably not the first to make it. Right, okay, so to wrap things up, thank you everyone for sticking with me, for listening me in a very unstructured, rambly way talk about color and encoding and HDR and all that stuff. I mean, if you are very interested about this, maybe I can do a session in DaVinci Resolve and actually show you how it looks like. Okay, this is a camera image from, I don't know, the Arri Alexa 35, and this is how you transfer it or transform it into something that looks like a Netflix image. That kind of thing, and where things can go wrong and how to encode it in HDR, and yeah, that sort of thing. Oh, look at this. The chat just, this is the chat. It just crashed. Thank you very much. OBS apparently. So did I save this? Okay, this I need to save. This is the PSD in 16-bit, yes, and this is just so that I could show you what the LAB color space looks like. So let's see if the chat is back. No, it's not. But the good thing is I can see it in the small preview there on the stream. So apparently it's still working on the website. So Mr. Troy said, I'm here for it. Thank you so much. And Jerem said, hey, nice to my horrible pun. Venereal Disease said, that sounds really cool to me. Okay, then. And also to Mr. Troy. That's in that case. Okay, I got two people who say that's not completely uninteresting. I think years back I did a color grading stream. So yeah, then we can I can show you some ins and outs of color grading, just my little daily bread and butter, as I always call it, and share you what it is that I do when I'm not doing these kinds of things. Kirsty says, big letters so Phil can thank you very much. My eyesight is getting tired, so yeah, bye, nice stream. Thank you, Kirsty. Again, I wish I could say something back. Oh, of course I can. I can just talk into the camera. Hi. Thank you very much for watching, for not curtailing me in my ramblings, in my nerdy ramblings. So again, I hope it was not too uninteresting to you. Lady Misleaf, I know you're already gone, but thank you for the suggestions when it comes to my cover design. So again, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I will let you know when the release is out. And until then, bye chat. It's still white. I don't know. I mean, it's good that it crashed this late when I was already wrapping up. So, then Frank says, Phil discovers talking. Indeed. Frank, oh yeah, Jerem says, thank you for the stream. I'm reading it here on top of the stream. So it's like I'm watching my own stream. And when this starts as a stream, this is very meta. I probably should stop. Thanks for the stream. I hope you can read this. I can't speak any bigger. Thank you. I heard you. I also very much appreciate that you typed very slowly. So this is why I read it this slowly. And DC says, this was very fun stream as always. The cover looks great. Thank you. And thanks for color stuff. Good night, everyone. This is how I read when the text is a little bit too small. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Hope you have a wonderful week. And next stream. Oh, probably will also be on a Sunday, because I'm not sure if I can make next Saturday. So it's probably going to be Sunday. I'm sorry that I'm announcing this at the very last second, but yeah, I will keep you posted. And until then, bye bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, take care, everyone.